Guys,
What
Well,
up?
I almost said the same thing, same time.
we're back.
We're back.
Doing this for a long
It's
time.
been a couple weeks. I'm on nightcap.
But he's
I'm on
wearing my shoes.
I'm on nightcap.
I can
I'll be right back.
And this
Sorry.
is live in front of
And
a
we're
live
live.
studio audience. In front of a
Good
live
thing.
studio audience, it's the nightcap.
Good thing nobody's watching yet.
Aw.
So we are the Land Geek guys, and we are back after it's been quite a long hiatus, I would say.
Yeah, feels like a
I
few weeks.
I think it's 3 weeks. Has it been 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels more like 21 days.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Oh, we're not live?
There we go. Sorry, I had some audio issues there. I had something blaring in my ears. So anyway, here we are.
Yes.
And now I'm frozen, which
Yep.
is fun. You can hear me though.
We can hear you.
What's the song from Frozen?
And
Let it go.
anyway, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Scott Bossman, the frozen one. I'm a land investor. I'm a land geek. I do land deals. And who are you guys?
How do I freeze myself for my intro? Mike Zano, and I'm a land investor.
I like
You're
the way
funny.
that he said it, right? He's like, it was like, hi, my name is Scott Bosman and I'm an alcoholic. Like, it was like that tone, like we're in a meeting. Awesome. My name is Matt Forbes and I too am a fellow land investor, but I own that stuff. I'm in it. Oh, what happened? Is he gone?
Now I'm here.
Spirit?
But I don't know what's going on. So you guys talk
So-
amongst yourselves. I'm gonna
Can
try
you-
to figure
can-
out.
Well, maybe you could. Can you field the questions from back there?
Yeah, I'm gonna field the questions. How's Land Geek Nation doing? We want to know. Here's what we want to know. What is going on? What are your recent wins? What are your recent struggles? Are you doing deals? Do you have deal
Right.
flow? Because deal flow, what, Meg Zano?
Might solve everything.
Solves everything. And we also want to know from people who are watching, were you at boot camp? And what were your top boot camp takeaways?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we should talk about boot camp, Mike Zano, because it was so amazing to be back in the room again with 90 other like-minded people learning about the land business. And it was very refreshing, wasn't it? It had been over a year and a half since we'd all been together.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. You were probably the tallest guy in the room since Matt wasn't there.
I know, right?
Yeah. And second best looking. So that's good for you. Nice.
Right. Anyway, back to boot camp, Mike Zano.
Yeah, boot. It's so weird. I'm talking to this picture
hard.
that's sort of like
It's hard to
staring at
talk
me
to a-
intensely. He's got an
Talks like a
intense.
picture.
He's got an intense profile picture there on
Yeah.
Skype. Like I'm not sure he's happy in that picture, but boot camp was definitely amazing. Yeah, it had been quite some time since we'd all been together, and I think one of the biggest differences when it's live and not virtual is that all the networking you can do, the side conversations, and the people you can meet, and there was a lot of that going on, and a lot of sharing of information freely between people that are doing the same model. It was awesome.
And I think it was a great benefit for our VIP participants. So at boot camp, we have a main room, which is 75, 80% of the land investors. And then we have a VIP room for the one-on-one coaching clients. And I know, Matt Forbes, you love the VIP room, and you can speak to the magic that happens in that room. And I really think coming out of that weekend that those people benefited significantly from being in that room and breaking their businesses down and building them back up again. But Matt Forbes, talk about that VIP room a little bit and what that VIP room did for you at boot camp.
Yeah, I mean the main room is just everything you need to know to do this business, which is an insane amount of information, right? It's crazy to jam it all in there. And so those people walk away and are like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. But the VIP room is like, all right, let's slow it down. And then let's get into the details. Nothing superficial. We're going to go deep. We're going to go deep on this issue, this issue, this issue. And you're with other people that are struggling, because it's a struggle in the beginning. It is what it is, right? And Tate or Scott or anybody does these presentations, and you're like, oh my God, I hadn't thought about it that way. Oh, I'm going to do this, and you run out and you start implementing it, right? And you come to the next session and you're taking notes, and you're, I would go back when they had them every quarter. We would come out of boot camp, my wife and I, with 15 to 35 things, stack ranked by importance of what we had to get done, and we had 13 weeks to do it. And 13 weeks later, we were back at boot camp, back learning new stuff, back building a giant to-do list, and it was just rinse and repeat. And some of the stuff was the same, like go swim lane, but every time I heard Scott give that presentation, and I probably heard a similar presentation in the 8 boot camps I went to, probably like 3, maybe 4 times. It didn't matter because I wasn't ready to hear everything he was saying. So I would hear, the same thing about doing a swim lane, and it would take on a totally different meaning, which was like frustrating for me, right? Because I'm like, how come I didn't get that last time? It's like you just kind of weren't ready. You weren't ready for it last time. A lot of the stuff is fresh every time, but the VIP room it's pretty hardcore, right? Met a lot of good friends there, got a lot of investors out of meeting people there, invested in other people's deals, sold wholesale, bought wholesale, bought land arb, gave tips, got tips. You're at your house doing this, and you can't talk about this stuff with your friends. They hate you, right? I mean, first they called you an idiot for 18 months, and then they're just jealous from there on out. So that connection to openly talk about land is why I went back. I think I went to 8 boot camps.
It reminds me of like maybe starting to work out with a buddy and then dropping out on the first day or so, and then seeing him 6 months later being like, oh, guy's jacked. Yeah. He stuck with it.
Yeah.
He stayed with the program.
Just yeah.
You'll be happy to know you are sort of legendary. They reference you at the boot camp, how you would use the boot camp for a retreat. So it's like you're part of the folklore now. It's really awesome.
I did. I used to go to boot camp like 2 days early. Like I have 4 little kids, so, and I guess they're not that little anymore, but we had 4 kids, so we don't go on vacation. Where the hell are you going to take 4 kids? Everything costs too much money. So we would go 2 days early, and we'd be at the pool. Like I'd get there before the coaches. We'd be at the pool, like just talking land. What did we not get done from last boot camp? Is there anything we didn't get done? Can we just go jam it and get it done right now, like so we can say we did it? But yeah, it's a good time to sit and reflect on the business. It's 100% land. Here's what I really loved about it. You go out to dinner with your friends who you've met or people you don't know. You talk about land. You're in between meetings, you're talking about land. You're in the meetings, you're talking about land. There's no BS, right? I mean, for us, I guess you could go there and sort of waste time, but not the crew that I was. Like the first boot camp, a lot of people know that I'm in an accountability group with a guy, John Burnett. I was at dinner with Ann in the hotel. I think it was just like Vegas. And we were like, the girl sitting in front of us, Sarah Ann. We were like, Sarah. I mean, we didn't know her name. We're like, yeah, whatever. Come and sit at the table. Like, who cares? We'll talk land. We're struggling. We're new, whatever. Guy walks in. I'm like, you. I literally did this. I go, you. You were this boot camp thing, right? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, you want to come and sit? He's like, yeah, it's great. And I'm like, we're going to call you Handsome Rob. Like, okay, that's not my name. And I'm like, don't care. What's up, Handsome Rob? This is Sarah, somebody or other. And we had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people at that table.
I bet you had.
And I still hang out with Handsome Rob.
I think.
With Matt Borg.
I think you had. I think you had.
John, your name is Rob now. That we're gonna call you Rob. It's not your name is no longer John.
I think you had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drinks that night, if I remember correctly, because I'm pretty sure I saw you at the end of the night. But hey,
Yeah, most
Well,
likely.
if you those out there, you gotta understand. Matt and his wife would come to the command center. Like, so you go to the hotel room and it was set up like an FBI command center.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what did I just walk into? What's going on here? It's you don't mess around.
If you're gonna go. There was a boot camp where there was a couple people kind of. I mean, it's not like they were like disruptive, but they weren't talking land.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna hang out with you. Like this is money. This is real. This is my future. Get the hell out of it. I don't have time for you.
Right.
Give me
Right.
the people who want to work. Give me the people who have problems. Maybe I can help you. Maybe you can help me. We're here
I
to
think-
talk about. Yeah, let's go. So
I think at this VIP room, more than any in recent history, they were more focused. They were more gung ho than a group that I've seen in a long time. And I think that's partly due to the fact that, listen, we haven't been together for a year and a half, right? So we need to make the most of this opportunity and soak in all the knowledge we can from the coaches and from Scott Todd and Mark Podolsky. But man, those people were focused forwards. I think you would have loved to have been a part of that VIP room this last boot camp, because every single person in there was focused on growing their business. It was really awesome.
I had a person who was in the room reach out and be like, "Hey, can we catch up? I wanted to meet you, and you weren't there." Like, I'm like,
Aww.
yeah. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of fun." And then I blew her off for like a week and a half because I just forgot about her. But we ended up talking, and I'm like, yeah, like, well, let's talk for like 20 minutes. She's like, yeah, that's great. It was an hour and 10 minutes.
Wow.
And it was, I didn't know, but I thought she was just a random person. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll hang out. And she was in the VIP room. She's in coaching, right? And like once we, we've never talked. Once we did that little dance of like, oh, like, it's so nice. Tell me, what do you want? Like once we got rid of that, and she was like, she dropped an F-bomb. And it's like, oh no, she's like, I'm in blanking coaching, and I'm like, oh, we can swear? Oh, okay, all right, well, tell me about it. And it was great. It was a fun hour, but she gave me some insight as to what went on, and like, it sounded really, really good. I was super jealous I couldn't have gone.
Well,
That's
we definitely
awesome.
missed you.
We did miss you, Matt Forbes, and we missed you handing out the drink tickets, the duty was bestowed upon me, which was very exciting.
A great run there. Yeah.
Did you do the one for you, one for me routine like I do?
No, you
couldn't
didn't pull
handle
that one off.
Yeah, I went home at the end of the night with a few extra tickets in my pocket, and I knew that Matt Forbes never would have done that. So it was it is embarrassing. But we
I was
got
told that the tickets are paid for.
right.
All the tickets were paid for. So if you didn't use them, you lose them. I'm
Yeah,
like, well, we're not losing any money here. We're gonna
Exactly.
get our money's worth.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna help out. Let's help the cause.
Yeah, go team.
So can you guys see me okay now? We good?
No.
You still can't see me?
We see your somewhat serious and menacing photo.
How about now? See me now?
There you are.
Okay.
Hey, now.
I think the audience has been seeing me for quite some time, because through Ecamm they've been able to see me. However, so anyway, we're back, and I think we should say hello to a bunch of people that are joining us. So we have Jeremy Peer, who was at boot camp, David Kay, who was at boot camp, Tancha Hokinson, who was at boot camp. So wonderful meeting you, Tancha, after all this time. James Brand, we'll get to your question. Darren Nichols is here. Matt Forbes, I got to meet Darren Nichols in person. He's the guy,
God.
he's like,
Did you like immediately hug?
oh, of course we hugged.
What's up, bro? Come on, boom.
Yeah, of course we hugged. No question. Darren's who I Facebook stalk, according to Matt Forbes. So anyway,
Hey, everyone. Yeah. What?
yeah. Right. We won't get into the creepy stuff that happens on your end. However,
We digress.
and we
Am
digress.
I the one who Facebook stalked people? I'm not. Okay, no, we're good. Yep, keep going.
Okay. So we got some questions pouring in. It's so good to be back with you, Yahoos, and I'm glad you can see me now. Yahoos, that's like a grandpa word. Like, did your grandpas ever say that?
Matt's gonna have to come to a working lunch sometime.
Yeah, Matt. We gotta tell Matt.
Tell him about that.
We gotta tell Matt about the Voxer thing too. We will here in a minute. But
I'm in.
yeah, so every Wednesday we have a working lunch in the Mighty Networks group. So for all you folks who are watching, no matter where you are, come as you are. It's the Nirvana song, right?
Yep.
If you're in the Mighty Networks group, if you are new to the community, you just have the Passive Income Launch Kit, maybe you have the toolkit, maybe you've been through flight school, maybe you're in coaching, maybe you're a coaching grad. We have a working lunch every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Come and join us, and let's talk land investing. Today we had a great discussion.
Yeah, we had several great discussions, several topics. A smaller crew of land investors, but it was really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I don't know. It's just a way to, I think, problem solve on some things and move forward in the business. So join us for the working lunch. And again, you do have to be a member of the Mighty Networks group. How do you do that? Well, you can go to thelandgeek.com. You can join the Passive Income Launch Kit. You can schedule a call at thelandgeek.com/training, and we'll talk to you about the business. But it's a good opportunity to get some questions answered. Let's see here.
Any questions out there?
We got some questions. A couple comments first from Tancha Hokinson. They were there at boot camp, and their top takeaways were: networking in person is so powerful, and there are so many cool people in this industry. And lastly, we are all at different stages, but there is so much potential in this business. Anybody can do this if they follow the recipe and remain consistent.
Nice.
Which
Wow,
is
you guys did really good at boot camp, but those are the takeaways. Solid.
definitely the case.
Huge.
Cheers to that. All right, you ready for some questions? We got a couple.
All right.
Here's the first one from David K. Mike Zano. Which
Wait,
state?
did David say Mike Zano, or do you say
No,
Mike Zano?
I'm just appointing you. Matt Forbes gets the next one.
I know Dave very well. Great to be at boot camp.
Mike Zano. Which state is the best to do the business?
I feel like I'm like on a talk show, and I just got asked a question by you, and I have to get the right answer, or else like a buzzer's going to come out.
Right, exactly.
Did you feel that, Matt?
I do. I like it though. I like the pressure.
Um.
What do you got?
Well, you know what? All the states
There it is.
could work, but the ones I'll tell you the ones where I've had success. Let's see, in no special
No.
order. I'll probably forget a couple, but New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada, Texas, Utah, Florida, Oklahoma. Those I've had success in all those counties.
Colorado?
Colorado, I've had success in Colorado.
Crap. You forget Colorado.
10. So
That's
there's 9 of them that I've had great success in. I sort of go against the whole stick to one area, but I'm a wholesaler, and I buy land everywhere, and I provide it to you.
Hug it out. All right.
Does that help, Dave?
But okay, but here's the bottom line, right? Like, how many counties are there in the United States? 3,008. Are we going to do this in every single county? No, because out east, it's a different animal, right? Out where you guys live, it's a different animal. East of the Mississippi, really, if you look at it, if you kind of draw a line down the center of the United States, east of the Mississippi, it's kind of a different animal. West of the Mississippi, you take out the farming states, it's a different animal. Meaning, there's so much vacant land out there in the western part of the United States that you can't even wrap your head around it. So all of those states that Mike mentioned, David, are amazing land investing states. The market is absolutely massive. What you do have to do is you have to find an area where there is a market for selling land,
Right.
right? And how do you do that?
Well, you could go to the toolkit in the secret county list, but we have a secret county website now. Anybody know the name of it?
Landamodo.com.
Yes. Secret county website. Man, if you wanted a new area, what tools would you need? What websites? Landmodo? What else? It's like a couple sites and you could find a new area, right? Real simple.
Do you need more? You can go to like the Lands of America and all that crap, but that just conflates the issue because you get a lot of cash people, right? On the term side, you want to be in the beginning. You want to be where everybody else is so that it's working. It's not the opposite. You don't want to be off on your own. Off on your own little island is bad in the beginning. That's for when you know what you're doing and you can actually risk a few things, right? You might hit it big, but you don't want to do that out of the chute. Out of the chute, you want to know what you're doing. You want to go find an area that other people do this exact thing in and then go do it, because an area might have 3,000 lots. And that's one little section of a bigger county, of a huge state. So just go where the people are, go to Landmodo, look at where everybody is. The most important thing is that you can connect with the land. Scott Todd talks about it a lot. I think people overlook it. If you can't see why someone would buy that property, that is not the property for you. For sure. You need to go where you can see it and what it's worth and why it's worth that, so that you can go sell it when it comes time to freaking sell it. Because you got to believe in it. You got to have that conviction. Eventually, you're going to get to the place where you go, I don't care how I feel about the land because I know other people will want to buy it. And then you can go anywhere. But you got to go find an area where you're like, man, if I had extra cash, I'd buy an RV, I'd drive out there, I'd go build a cabin out there, I'd go tent camp out there, I'd whatever. If you can do that, then you can sell it on the back end. So start there.
You do have an RV though, don't you?
I do. It's exciting. I do. I bought a big old RV, although my brother hit a tire, almost crashed the whole thing, blew out the exhaust pipe, and bent the drive shaft about a month ago. So it's in the shop, needless to say.
Damn it, Forbes!
Does that
Come on, man.
No good deed goes unpunished. Oh yeah, take it.
It's on.
Now, I have a question.
My wife's like,
Are you bigger than your brother?
Yeah, I'm bigger than everybody.
Oh, your brother? I thought you said brother-in-law.
No,
That's his
he's my
brother.
Like, a tire blew out in front of him. He ran it over.
What are you
It
gonna?
could have been me. It could have been you. I had two other people I know who have RVs and have done it for a long time, and both of them were like, "Let me tell you a story about how that person flipped the RV and 3 people died." In both of the stories, and I'm like,
Ooh.
So your brother did a really good thing, keeping it up.
yeah. He's like, he goes, Matt, I just drove over it and I held it straight, and I thought that was the best thing to do. And I was like, great job, because a 26,000-pound giant Class A motorhome doesn't exactly corner. It's not
Doesn't
like you're
swerve
gonna
well.
swerve. So whatever. I'm gonna go fly down to Roanoke over the weekend, pick it up.
That's probably what happened in the other bad incidents. Some people tried to swerve, and then that
Yeah.
thing just. So he did the
You're
right
not
thing.
Swerving
going
that thing. No,
Well-
that's a bad call. I don't know how we got here, but yeah.
I don't know what you got here. I mean,
We're here because you have an RV. That's
it's
not-
nightcap. We digress from the
Go.
topics of
Nightcap
land.
rabbit hole.
It can go left. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's his right. It was, what areas would you go? There are areas that I own land in that I would never go to. I want no part of it. And then there's other areas where, like,
But you've camped on some
But-
land at least for like an hour.
I pretended to, yeah. That's like, I wouldn't want to,
But here's the thing, Forbes. That's the okay. So no, right, but therein lies the heart, really the heart of this business. In that, just because it's the land that you don't like, doesn't mean you can't connect internally with the people who want to buy it. And that's really what the marketing is about, right? You may not want this desert land with sagebrush, Matt Forbes, but you need to connect with the people that do want the desert land with sagebrush, and there are those people out there. So
Yeah.
don't be a land snob, Matt Forbes.
Well, no, but I'm not. But I'm saying something slightly different though. I'm saying in the beginning where you know it works because you listen to us and you've done your research, so you know it works, but you haven't experienced that it works.
Right.
Find an area where you're like, yeah, look at those photos. I would
Yeah,
go there.
I gotcha.
That's where you start, right? And then
I
eventually
gotcha.
you're like, I don't really care. Like it
Yes.
doesn't matter. I'm trying to pull up like the numbers in real time because one of those sagebrush properties in the middle of nowhere sold. I saw the note and I was going to try to pull up the numbers for people. I don't even know where like the numbers are anymore. It's really bad. I'm going to work on that as we talk. I will get you the numbers, but it was that exact property that sold that we got a $500 down payment yesterday on. I'll get you those numbers in a minute.
That's
Awesome.
amazing. Let's do an audio check. How is my audio compared to the other two gentlemen's audio on the call?
Sounds like you're claiming our audio to be inferior, but you don't want to say it. You want the audience to say it.
I just had a
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
we had a comment that I'm louder than you two, and
Are always louder than
Scott
us.
likes to yell. Yes.
No, it's the software you use.
Come on.
You are literally always louder than we are.
What am I to do about this? What
You
am
go
I
buy
to
real
do?
software? I don't know.
What am I to do about this? Okay, so let me see if I can decrease my volume somehow.
Ooh, I got the numbers. Do you want to hear the numbers?
Yeah.
Let's hear the numbers on the deal.
I don't have the buy it for. Let's say I bought it for $4,500. I don't.
Is that better?
I don't know what
A. Scott
Yeah.
Lanford, is that better? Go ahead.
Okay, so call it I bought for $4,500. This was given back to us after 2 years, and it was resold today. So it was given back to us like 3 weeks ago. $500 down, $249 doc fee. It is listen to this number, $214.76 a month for 110 months. What an odd number.
You're only into that for a couple grand now. It's coming back
110
around 20.
months. 110
Nice.
months.
Yeah. So the monthly total is $234.98, and the taxes are like $5. So
Okay,
it's
can you
probably-
review for us? What's the cost? What's your cost? What's your new cost basis on that now after the default?
Couple grand.
that cost basis has to be no more than $2,000. I actually have an investor on it, so
Yeah.
I never put money into this deal ever. And so that investor has been paid. His initial investment has been paid out, so now it's a 50-50 shot. Well, and now for the next 110 months. When I turn 57, we will have paid this thing. No, I don't know what the number is, but it's a big one, right? That's 24,000 and change. It's not
Yeah.
bad. It's pretty good. So yeah, that's one of the
Really good.
original ones that I sold out there, 50 acres, that came back and went out. Oh, here it is. That's why it's so funky. Veteran discount, $25 off a month. That's part of the reason.
Oh,
that
okay.
number's strange.
Nice.
So yeah, great, awesome.
I mean, that's an amazing deal.
Go team.
Go Team Forbes.
Yeah.
Really,
and
it's
I
not
didn't
really a
sell it.
team anymore. It's all Ann. So go
It's
Team Ann.
It's our
you rock.
salesperson.
And
I
that
don't-
deserves a refill, I
Ooh,
think.
yay.
Don't
I
you?
don't have another one, but sure.
You don't have another one. Well, it's
Well,
nightcap. You didn't come prepared?
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm
Matt,
like
come on,
prepping
give
for
your
this
speech.
vacation.
Give you a speech, even if you don't, Phil. Let's hear it.
All right, if you've been working hard, if you went to boot camp, if you were silly enough not to go to boot camp, but you're working this business, you're actually watching this at 10 o'clock at night, pour yourself a damn cocktail and feel good about it because you're going to change your life. Just don't quit. Cheers.
That's awesome. Earlier in the show, you had me thinking. You were talking about when you go to the boot camp and you have the people that are there that just starting out and the people that are really been doing it for a bit. It's interesting. Like I was thinking, like first hear about it, you're elated, you're ecstatic, like 'cause you found something like this that
Yeah.
can be this productive. So it's like wow, and the other people are like they went through the wow, and now they're in the hard work, right? Now they're putting it to work. So there's that, and then the next wow, you set the outsource. But isn't that interesting though? At the very beginning, you hear about it, you're like, what? No way.
Yep.
And then you realize Yahweh, you can definitely do this.
And you're like, I'm
Yahweh.
going to own this. And
And
then
Yahweh that way. And then you're like, I'm gonna work hard at it. And yeah, it's interesting. But we see that all in the same weekend. So you have people that are brand new and eyes are opening up to the possibilities. Then you have people that have been executing for a little bit of time and having success. Then you have people who have been doing it for years that are just refining their systems. And then you have people that are just like doing other things now that they have a lot of money coming in. They're using their capital in other ways, the higher level concepts. So it's just awesome. And they all can meet in the same place and talk about the same things, but have understandings at different levels, right? Based upon where they're at. So it's pretty awesome.
I decided that I want to be Mark's opening act
I
on
love
the first day. Have I told you guys this yet?
Oh, let's hear it. I love it. I love the sound of it.
So, like my first boot camp, Scott Todd kind of came out and he, said a couple things and then introduced Mark. Like, I want to tell my story. Like, when does Mark come on? Like, when does he first start? It's like 8. I mean, it's early.
Yeah.
These are long days.
9 a.m.
No, all right, 9 a.m.
I like where this is going.
Dude, I want to start at like 8:15. Like people are like meandering in there. Everybody's all closed, right? Everybody's like, "What have I done?"
Like me.
I'm at a boot camp. This is clearly a crock. I can't believe everyone's all like, like all the new people are, "Rah," and they have to like sort of warm up to this possibility that maybe this is the smartest thing they ever did, and they didn't, and they don't know it yet, right? So I'm like, oh, I could go in there and just tell my story and just, make people like comfortable and be like, no, it's real. Like just like 17 more minutes. You will always
Love it.
remember this in 17 minutes, 16 minutes. Oh, I don't know.
We need to have you do that. That would be epic and perfect. And it would, Fossman, that's cool.
That is cool. I mean, people show up at 8:30 and they're eating breakfast for a half hour before Mark shows
know.
up. I mean, what a perfect time for Matt Forbes to tell the story.
And Matt doesn't even need a microphone.
I
No.
love the microphone. I'm a big microphone guy. I'll bring my own. It's fine, Mike. You guys always have that
We
crap
know you
ear
will.
thing. I'll bring mine. I got a nice one.
Like you're on a spy mission.
Anywho, we got any questions?
More questions. We've been rambling a lot this show. Let's get to the questions.
It's
No, I'm-
10:40.
Yeah, right? Time's flying. James Brand is here. James Brand. James, hope things are going well down in Texas. He has a question. He says, perfect timing. I have a Facebook bite asking me if she can rent the land. I said no, but what's a good pivot line to keep it positive with her while letting her know she needs to buy, not rent?
Well, I say, sure, he just sign it and do the monthly payments. There's your rent. If she ever wants to
It's rent to
default,
own.
you do what Matt Forbes did. You make a ton more money. So I think it's just say sure.
It's,
When we set up an agreement, you make me monthly payments, and if you pay me enough, you can own it. How's that sound?
it's just language, right? I mean, it's just we're going to rent to own this thing. That's pretty much what we're doing, right? You're going to rent to own this.
Talk.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
interesting. Let's talk.
Right.
Let that why do you want to rent this? Like, do you have a purpose in your head? Why do you want to rent it? Let them ramble as to whatever the hell cockamamie scheme, idea that they have, whether they're going to build a cabin or go take the family or whatever. And then you're like, look, here's the deal. I do monthly payments. And at the end, you own it. It's
Cheaper than rent. Cheaper
yours.
than rent.
Yeah,
I would say rent it. You can own it cheaper. Let's talk.
let's talk, right?
you
But
know,
it's just
Go ahead.
scary for people, right? It's it's odd. Like, oh, I found something on the internet. Like, I can go buy this land. I didn't know I could go do this. This sounds like, I don't know. Like, I want to tiptoe in. Let's talk. Yeah, happy to chat about it. It's an idea. Yeah, what are you thinking? What do you want to do with the property? Like, get into a conversation, get them feel them at ease, make them feel okay, because what you want to offer is infinitely better than what they're talking about. Right?
Yeah.
Unless they're like, I want to use it for X, Y, and Z for 2 years specifically. And then you can just decide whether you want to do that. But for most people, they don't really understand that they're going to rent to own, that they're buying it. It
Right.
can be theirs. And that's always a good thing.
So I think it's time for a segment.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because a few years ago, things were a little different than they were now. But listen, this is my favorite segment of all. It's called the Boston Lega segment.
Oh, look at
It's upside down. There you go.
I got it.
Very nice.
It's called the Boston Lega segment. This is a segment where Scott Bossman spells a word correctly,
warm up.
and Mike Zano pronounces the word very incorrectly in his Bostonian accent. But here's the interesting thing: like three years ago, 3.5 years ago, when we started the nightcap,
Yeah.
Where's the hoop?
yeah, the hoop's in my son's room. So
He never
whatever.
got in the hoop anyway.
Whatever.
Right.
I never got in the hoop. 3 years ago, if I had spelled this word 3 years ago, I think it would have come out a little differently. But here you go, Mike. You ready? I'm going to spell a word for you. Please pronounce
You've
it
been
for me.
rubbing off on me. Your accent's what it is. Let's
Yeah,
hear it.
exactly. You ready? Cheaper.
Cheaper?
Cheaper. But really, 2 minutes earlier, you said cheaper.
Cheaper.
Yeah. So I definitely
true.
rubbing off on you.
It's
And,
true.
you
Never do that.
You're a new
know?
man. You're definitely a new man than you were 3 years
Your
ago.
friends in Haverhill aren't going to like you anymore.
Haverhill.
Haverhill. Love that town. You ever been to Haverhill, Matt Forbes? You got to go. It's a pretty amazing little place.
Open
Home away
invite.
from home.
Open invite.
Home away from home. Right, exactly.
Home away from
All
home.
right. Keith Forche, he says, networking is good. Dave LaFay and he are out in Castilla doing a mini boot camp and visiting properties. Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Super cool.
David K came back, Mike, and asked again, thanks, those were good words, but if you would, which state would you pick? He says, I've been to all of the states on the secret county list. So,
he did what?
He's been to all of the states on the secret county list. But his question to you is, even with what you said, which state would you pick, Mike?
I'll tell you that when I started the business, I made a ton of money in Arizona. That's how I paid my debt off. So if I had to pick one that was sort of emotionally, emotional to me, it'd be Apache, Arizona. I love it.
And see, if I had to pick an area that's emotional to me, it's Colorado. Matt Forbes? Texas.
Where to start, though?
No, but an area that's emotional to you. I don't know. Come on,
David. They all work. They all are going to work the same. It's going to come down to constant mailing into any of them.
That's the ticket right there.
Yes. I don't have like a favorite.
You don't need a favorite.
You can make a lot of money in all of them. You just
I don't
have
care.
to.
Just give me the land and let's go make money. Like, I literally don't care. There are people who are very emotionally attached to this stuff. I'm just not one of them. And I've been to my Florida lots. I've been to my Texas lots. I've been to some of these things, and I'm not emotional about any of them. I just want to sell their paper. They're pieces of paper to me.
So what do you put your faith in? Do you put your faith in what you feel, or do you put your faith in the numbers? Put your faith in the numbers, right?
Yeah, take the emotion out of this.
Take emotion
100%.
out of it.
I would ask that guy and be like, well, how much money do you have? Do you need to
That's
go
another
start
point.
buying $200 and $300 properties? Because you're not, you're starting over here, not over here. Do you
Right.
have 2 and 3,000? That's a different ball game,
Right.
right? Because you're going to go triple your investment, whether it's 100 or whether it's 2,000, right? So where do you want to start? Like, what actually makes sense? I think there's a bigger question there, but the answer is it doesn't really matter. Pick one that you can connect with. I mean, I'm in Texas and I'm in some spots in Texas that like you have to probably go there to connect there, right? It's the middle of nothing. You could be in the Sahara Desert, for God's sakes. It's the same thing. So if you can't find a reason why you would want to buy that, it's going to be hard in the beginning to go answer someone's question with some enthusiasm as to why they should do it. Once you've done it for a while, you can see through there, you can have empathy and see why they would want it. And so you can do that. But in the beginning, you have to see yourself owning that land so that you can talk about it the right way.
Good point. Well done.
Well done, Matt Forbes.
Well done. Aw.
So
Uh,
smart. Smart.
So, any other questions out there? Any other wins? Any wins? James Simmons is bragging, Mike Zano. He made money off you. He has some sale numbers to flaunt. $3,000 profit on Zano's Desert Squares.
Perfect.
Who hasn't made money on Zano's Desert Squares?
I have about 15 of those left.
Where are those?
New Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're New
All right.
Mexico, right?
We're
Okay.
talking
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Were you land arbing those or were you
I
wholesaling?
was, but I don't know if I am anymore. Now I'm strictly wholesaling them.
Okay. All right. Fine. Fair enough.
I may have some land art properties coming as
I mean,
well.
I could probably land out a package of them to you.
You want a land arb package?
One just doesn't really appeal.
Oh, does it hurt you? Okay. You tell me. I've bought whole land arb packages from you before, making money. I'm open. Call me tomorrow.
No, it's just that I'm ready to
Drive the
wholesale
RV.
these things. So it's like I know I haven't really advertised them well, but for Matt Forbes, Landab, sure.
All right. Well, let's talk tomorrow.
So here's a comment that we need to talk about because this is pretty awesome. Jesse Otterblad had a recent win. He was on Nightcap probably a month or so ago. Mike Zano. I don't think Forbes, you were here, but
Yeah.
he was a flight school grad. He's done a ton of deals already.
Yep.
And listen to this. He made a cash sale this week. The buyer mailed him an envelope of $100 bills.
Holy
I'm not
crap.
sure that's the best practice. I've never done that. I've gone to
That's
Walmart and picked
awesome.
up a Walmart money grab before, but I've never gotten a stack of $100 bills in the mail,
Dude,
which I think is pretty awesome.
And
There's
I'm hoping
something
it was sent
special.
certified or something. or it's just
Certified,
an envelope.
hopefully.
Or just the
Don't-
Italian envelope showed up. I mean, is that what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. What truck did that fall off of? Yeah, that's awesome.
So Jesse, I think Matt Forbes wants to know what were the numbers on that. So what'd you buy it for? What'd you sell it for?
How many hundreds came in the mail?
How many hundreds came in the mail? It was priority mail, he said, at least priority mail. So that's pretty awesome. I can't think of anyone who's received $100 bills in the mail. That's pretty awesome. All right, and let's see. Nelson Garcia. Just sold my first property today on terms. Bought a small 2-acre property at $1,700 and sold for $5,000 at 5% interest plus $14 a month in fees. $99 down payment and a $99 doc fee. So we got $180 up front. Looks like he's going to make his money out. Well, 5% interest. You didn't tell us how long the term was, Nelson. So how long is the term? And what are you selling that thing for in the end? But that sounds awesome. Good for you. Congrats. That's what this is all about. It's awesome. He says the experience of going through my first deal was invaluable. However, is there something I could have done better? Well, that's the thing. Like every single deal,
Yeah, you get smarter.
you get smarter, right? You're going to evaluate, oh, what could I have done better? What could I have done more efficiently? And it just gets easier and easier and easier with every sale. You rinse and repeat, and the first one takes you a number of hours, and the second one takes you half that time, and the third one takes you even half that time. And you get to the point where your confidence builds and your skills improve, and it just gets to the point where you're an expert, right? Over time. It takes a while to become an expert, but eventually you get to that point.
You just
So
gotta get functional.
it's repetition. Um,
How many hundreds came in the mail?
Yeah,
Jesse, he paid 800 for the lot plus 900 in back taxes, so he's 1,700 into it.
He got probably about 30
Not-
$100 bills.
Hold on.
35. I'm gonna say $3,500 bills.
He's not 1,700 into it.
Wait,
He's 900 into it. And if he's
Wait,
smart,
no.
he will slowly pay those back taxes back. You
well,
don't need to come out of pocket for that.
so
Unless
that's what we need to clarify. We need to clarify. So did you pay 1,700 for the lot, Jesse?
Oh, he paid
Uh,
the back taxes probably right
I mean,
away.
he paid 800. He paid 800 for the lot, right? It's fine.
Right, but I'm not paying the back taxes.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
probably
mean-
paid if it's a cash sale. He probably had to pay up from the proceeds to bring it to zero. So it's all gonna wash out.
So
Yeah, I mean,
he's
He didn't
But
sell it
here,
to another
Forbes-
investor. He sold it to
For-
retail, so I'm sure the taxes will be current when he.
Yeah, but he sold it on terms.
no,
thought
no,
he
he
said
didn't. He sold it for
800 for the
cash,
mail.
cash in the mail.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he sold it
30
for terms. So I'm
Yeah.
like, why the hell would you pay the back taxes right away?
I-
Okay, my bad.
3,900 cash plus a $199 doc fee. So 4,100 cash essentially he got.
$4,100 bills came in the mail.
So Jesse, what you got? You got $4,100 bills and $99 in the mail.
I'm gonna mail
His
myself some
his
money.
total
Come
cost
on.
was 1,700. He almost well, he doubled. He 2.5 his money. 2.5 times his money
That's great.
I think we'll take that.
in cash.
In
We'll take it.
literal cash. It's
In
amazing.
literal cash. Exactly.
That's awesome. What could you have done differently? Who cares? You got like 400 $1 bills. 40. 40? 40.
Yeah, 40.
40 $100 bills. Like,
$4,100 bills.
here's what you could have done differently. You could have done it 10 years ago and started back then. That's the only
Yeah.
thing that you should change.
Good advice.
Just keep doing it, man. That's awesome. That's a great
awesome.
deal. I love
an amazing
taking
deal.
$1,700 and making it 4,000.
And Jesse, what a dopamine rush you had with that deal, right? Like you got those dollars in the mail. You're like, rinse and repeat. Let's do this again. It's an amazing business, right?
Yes.
You just now all you have to do is keep mailing, and those deals will keep coming.
Yep.
It's awesome. I'll never ever forget the time I went to Walmart to pick up a Walmart MoneyGram for a cash deal, and I picked up thousands of dollars in cash, right, on this deal that I did, and it's like a huge rush.
Walking out into that parking lot with that kind of cash.
You got to be careful walking out of the Walmart parking lot. But I'm a big guy. I'm not as big as Forbes, but
It's true.
I mean, Zane, are you
More
gonna mess
handsome.
with me? Come on.
No, you're a big dude. Aren't you
I'm
like
just
6?
saying though, that's a lot of cash you have on you walking out.
It's a lot of cash, yeah.
Aren't you like 5'2", 5'3"? How tall are you?
Yeah, something like that. You know, the common statement I get at boot camp is, "You're so much taller than I thought you'd be." I don't know how many times I heard that this week.
Yeah.
That at the weekend at boot camp, probably 10 times, literally 10 times. It's kind of a short torso, but I mean, I'm only 4 inches taller, 4 inches shorter than Matt Forbes. So, Zano, what are you?
A lot shorter than that.
Right. Anyway, well, thank
But
you,
we
fellas.
digress.
it's
We
been
gotta
an
wrap-
hour.
We're gonna
It's
wrap
been
it
an
up with
hour.
positivity.
It's been fun. I think it's time to sign. Oh, you know what though? We gotta tell Forbes about this, Zano.
Oh, the Voxer.
Yeah. So
He
Matt
loves
Forbes,
Voxer. He's getting
Matt
better at it
Forbes,
too.
you know how we love Voxer, right?
It's ridiculous. You people are
So
nuts. Yeah.
so get this. For the first time ever,
Eva,
people who have joined flight school are getting unlimited Voxer support from Mike Zano and Scott Bossman.
Dude, legit.
Dude,
Are they taking advantage? That's a big deal.
just
we
started.
start tomorrow.
Oh, starts tomorrow.
You guys are going to end it 3 days later. You're going to get inundated with Voxes.
Well, we made a few parameters. We kept it so they're going to have ample time, but it'll work.
So
I mean,
Monday through Friday, we answer Voxers. We answer them twice a day. For those of you going through flight school, Land Geek Flight School. So for those of you watching, you may not know what flight school is. If you want to know what flight school is, go to landgeek.com, schedule a call with me and Mike. We'll talk about flight school. Basically, I mean, for people getting started in this business, you have two pathways. You have the investor toolkit, which is your do-it-yourself pathway, and you have your flight school, which is where we do it with you. So if you go through flight school, we created this program where you will get unlimited Voxer support. So Voxer, if you guys don't know, is a walkie-talkie app. So
Nextel 1990s.
yeah, exactly. You guys go in if you have a question pertinent to your land business. You go in and you ask us the question, or you can type it out if you'd rather. And twice a day we answer the questions, Monday through Friday. And I think it's going to be a valuable thing for the folks going through flight school to be able to ask questions.
Did you guys send over the 69-page single-spaced 11 font type of Voxer etiquette so that everyone can be with all of your ridiculous rules when it comes to Voxer? Did that go out?
That's only for
they'll
you.
learn
That's only for you.
God. For the Land Geek community, honestly, when these two idiots Vox you and you don't Vox back within literally in a minute or 2 minutes, the offense begins. The outright how dare you? I can't believe that you didn't get right back to me, as if normal people with regular
Only if
jobs
this is played.
were just sitting around waiting for these two jabronis to Vox me.
Delivered's not the same. If it says played, you're like, oh, they heard it. They heard it.
I play it in a meeting.
Well,
Good luck,
Matt
everyone.
Forbes, I mean, I think it's going to be a helpful tool.
No, it's without
For
all of the making fun of you. That's amazing. That's huge support, right? Not that I'm thinking back to when I did it, not that I would need it a lot, but that was one of the best parts about coaching was instead of thinking about it for 2 and 3 and 4 weeks with total analysis paralysis, it's like you're in Star Trek and you're like, Tate, what the hell? I'm an idiot. Is it A or B? And then he's like, you're an idiot. It's A. And you're like, awesome, thanks. And it saved me 3 weeks. I probably 25 times over the course of a year, I could just feel that I wasn't making progress, and I had an answer within 45 minutes. So that I think is huge. So I think that's a good deal that you guys are doing. I like it. Sneaky.
should be fun. See what happens.
Yeah, that's wicked cool.
We'll see.
What day, Mike Zano, is Nightcap next week?
Okay,
It
what
won't be
day
there.
is today? Let's start with what day is today.
Well, today is Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday. So, therefore, next week could be Wednesday or Thursday. Bossman's choice.
Just gonna ask, why does it matter?
Wednesday would be better because
Let's do Wednesday.
Yeah.
Do Wednesday next week. Wednesday.
I am taking the RV to New Hampshire for the week with the kids and the wife.
But you got to get it fixed.
It's been getting fixed for the last month. So I fly down. I'm in a golf tournament Friday, Saturday afternoon. depending on sobriety, of course. Catch a ride to the airport, get on a plane, end up in Roanoke, take an Uber to the RV, sleep in the RV, drive it home Sunday. And then we go up to New Hampshire Monday. So I'll be there all week. So if I'm around, I'll do it, but I suspect I'll be exhausted and asleep by 10 o'clock.
All right.
Yeah.
It's all good. We'll
Yeah,
we'll
so-
hit you up on Voxer and we'll let you know
Yeah.
to be prepared for a nightcap next Wednesday night.
Perfect.
Next
And I'll
Wednesday
ignore you, and then
we'll be in
and then you
September.
can be angry. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I will
Love it.
be angry. Yes. All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Good night, everyone.
Peace out.
Have a good evening. We'll talk to you later. Keep doing deals. What's up, Land Geek guys?
What up?
What is going on this hump day? What's new?
Merry hump day.
Oh wow, it is the hump day.
It's the hump day. We're actually here a day early. We thought we were gonna be here Thursday, and then Mike Zano just he threw in a wild pitch earlier today, and is like, we're doing it tonight. Okay, Mike.
I would say we're doing it.
Whatever
first,
you
but
need,
should we
Mike.
do it?
I love you, man. I'm
I
flexible,
love you too.
like Mark Podolsky, like a yogi.
You're flexible like a yogi.
So Land Geek Nation, welcome. They're rolling in finally. I feel funny because the first minute that we talk, nobody's on the call.
It is weird.
And that's
So we should
some
have
of
a music intro. That's why the first minute should be just music.
the best content. Well, Forbes, speaking of music, remember a couple weeks ago we played the outro?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a little slap on the wrist from YouTube about that.
You
So
didn't tell me
Really?
that. How do they know? Like they follow us.
they have eyes and ears everywhere, dude.
What do they say?
Everywhere. They said we can't play that music. It's copyrighted.
That's crap. How do they know
Didn't-
we didn't get a waiver?
I
Zano-
flatter that they're watching us.
Zano, you got the Vox from Rossi. She's like, guys.
Oh, no, I didn't even see that one. That came from her.
Yeah. So anyway, no
Well,
more copyrighted music. We need Nick Roberts to come on and write our song.
We've grown to that level where YouTube is watching us. I'm pretty impressed.
I feel like that means we're doing something right.
That was a test. And by the way, YouTube, you pass.
Good job, dude. Proud of you.
Facebook,
Proud of
you fail. Facebook fails. They didn't slap us on the wrist. So I don't know.
Facebook doesn't care.
So Ken Green is here. Ken, nice to see you. Mary Graham is here. Mary, nice to see you. Mary Graham says to Matt, log into Facebook and be my friend, please. That's a first. I like that.
Oh, so she's been sitting on. Don't you love that? It's kind of like the Voxer on Red or the Voxer Red unanswered when you have a friend request and the guy sees it.
He's
and
leaving
he
you on
doesn't
read.
respond. Although in Matt's defense, he's probably not even doing his Facebook anything anymore.
Who was this?
Mary
Have
Graham
your
would like
VA have
Mary
your VA
Graham
approved Mary.
would like to be your friend on Facebook.
There's no friend request.
Okay,
yeah,
Mary.
there it
Well,
is. All right, Mary,
Oh.
we're friends. There it is.
All right.
Happy friendship.
so now you're friends with Mary. I'm friends with Mary, I think.
Yeah.
Mike Zano's friends with Mary. You're just the
Yeah.
I hope
Okay,
I am.
there
I
we
don't want
go.
to be the odd guy out.
I know, right?
There we go.
I'm going to check right now, Mary.
Okay, so Joel, thank
Mary
you
and I
for
are
the feed.
besties.
So Joel is giving us some feedback. Now, last week I asked about this and nobody told me, but this
You're
week
too loud again.
he's saying that Matt and Mike are not as loud as Scott. So I'm gonna see if I can.
Let me see. Does this test?
No, I think it's let me do it once.
Okay, you do it.
It's him, not you.
Yeah, I think it's me. So let me. Anyway, you guys talk. Everybody else turn the volume up. I'm gonna see what I can do about my sound.
You just have to turn yours down.
I'm working on that though.
And
But
then
where
the
do I?
viewers turn
Where do I
it
do
up.
that? Where do
Your
I
mic
do that?
volume.
Yeah, I
I'm happy to
understand.
report that Mary, Graham, and I are friends, so I'm not the odd guy out.
Well, that's yeah.
No one
I
wants
can't
to be
believe
the
I
odd
got in there. I'm looking at Mary's friends. This is creepy.
guy.
Now I'm on. Oh, I'm here.
All right.
Hi.
So how's our vocals now? Because we're about
Okay,
to
how
get
about
into. We
how
want to
about
make
now?
sure you can.
Joel
Yeah.
Megginson,
How about now?
how's that sound?
There's no way that our microphones are draining out the frameworks, whatever Matt Forbes has got going on there, professional
Hey,
podcast. No way.
Can I ask a question, Podolsky? I went back and listened to the everybody whining about the offer ranges podcast, and Podolsky's using some weird microphone. What is going on?
Yeah, what
Is that
happened to the
Oh,
big one? I didn't ask him.
was he traveling?
he gave
Could have
up
been that.
on he gave up on that one. Darren Nichols says we all sound good. All right, Darren, thank you.
I'm gonna make Mark a low ball or a top offer. How's he say it? Top not a low ball, but I want to make him an offer on that mic. If he's not using it,
25
Mark
cents on the dollar.
offering you what's that worth, Matt? I'm gonna offer him
Oh,
25 cents on the dollar right now for that mic.
no,
I'm sending him a Vox right now. I saw you not use that microphone. We're live on Nightcap. Send it to me if you're not going to use it.
No, Mike
I'll pay
wants
So-
$1.
whatever Zeno is paying. I'll pay $1 more. Done. Done.
so
All right,
Mark
what are we talking about
Podolsky,
tonight?
Mark Podolsky's stressed. This microphone that he owns is a burden to him, and you guys just made him an offer, 25 cents on the dollar. It's just like the land business.
Yeah.
It's just what happened.
By the
Okay,
way,
great.
I think that new video on YouTube I think it's new. Do you see Mark's 101
Yeah.
video? It's really good.
Yeah, I released it today, so take a peek at it.
Seen it, go check it out. He's just got that personality.
I know.
He does it so well. I was like, wow. I'm like honored to be associated with you, Mark. I told him because he's just like, it's so professional, it's so well done, and he's so on the money. And he is the land geek. Like, lest we forget, he is the land geek.
He
And
is the land geek.
if we did forget for a moment, that video brings it right back.
You make me want to watch it.
It does bring it back. I mean, it brings you back to the basics, and
It
sometimes,
brings me back to the day that I met him. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the guy that changed my life. I remember meeting him out in Arizona, and that's the authentic guy right there. And he's still that authentic guy. And I guess I was brought back, listening to him talk about the fundamentals. I was brought back to that point when I had all that pain, that debt, and I was looking for a way out. And there was this new possibility in my radar of land investing. And I guess it was just so awesome. I felt like it was like a rewind there, and I was just super grateful. Do we say that too much? Grateful? I don't know. To find this rare niche, right, and then to work hard at it and excel with it, not just to find it, but to apply ourselves to it. Because finding it is one thing, right? That's great. Oh, look at this. This is unique. But now go apply yourself to it. Get the grit. Don't quit, as Matt Forbes says, right?
Yay, don't quit.
It's what is it, Mac? This is say it. This is the moment I've been waiting right here. It's demonstrable.
It demonstrably works. Yes, that is
I
my
love
favorite
that.
word.
That's like my most favorite. Like if I could ever pull off a Scrabble, I'm just gonna yell Forbes.
I would have to say though that it only demonstrably works if you have the stick-to-itiveness.
Ah, there it is.
No, not true.
To
Not true. It works whether you work it or not. It just works for
Well,
someone
I think
else.
you're both going with this, and I think you're both
It
right.
works.
You don't have to. You don't have to like full force believe it. You just have to follow the recipe.
yeah,
Just have to
But
do it.
to follow the recipe does take stick-to-itiveness because that's the consistency.
Listen, it's super hard. Like this whole business is a total pain in the butt, but it works. So either, this is your quote. In 5 years, you're either going to be sitting around 5 years older in the same job or a different job in the same everything, or you're not. You're going to be free. You take your pick, or you're going to be dead. It's one of those two things. Either you're dead, you're in the exact same place you are now, or you're completely transformed and you're free of having to go to work.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
So when was the point in your investing with land investing when it became demonstrably true? Is that the way to say it? Like when did you say, "Oh my God, this like I heard about it, but I just demonstrated to myself like this is it." Was it the first deal? I'm curious. Like, was there a point? When was that point? We know, we talk about it on the air and a lot off the air. We're very close friends. We know there's pain points. We know there's struggle. It's real, but
Yeah.
we know we also stick through it. But so was it, where was that point, Matt?
I think it's when I had bought. Um, I struggled in the beginning, like hardcore.
Right.
Like, you out there in YouTube land, you would have quit if you took my path. That's how hard I struggled. And I think it was like, yes, this works undeniably when I had bought a property. I was trying out Apache. Um, I was trying out Sholo Pines, and I
Yep.
bought one from a guy. We had it for 6, 7, 8 weeks, and we finally sold it. And he was paying. That was great. And then the wholesaler was like, "Hey, a guy defaulted next door. I have the property next door. Would you want that one?" And in a matter of like a half an hour, 45 minutes, I'd reached out to my guy and been like, "Hey, the property next door is up," and he's like, "Yeah, I want it." And I bought it for, like, I don't even know. It was less than the down payment. Right. So I had actually sold it, and I had gotten the stripe before I had even paid the guy for it, and it was like all done. It was like all of a sudden, boom! It was just free, 125 or 150 or whatever it is a month, and we were like, "Oh my God!" Like that does happen,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when it was like game on for us. We knew it worked, so it wasn't a big deal, but that's when it was like, okay,
Nice.
that was the easiest money we made. $250 or $500 or whatever it was, like that day, by doing that, and we made whatever 140 bucks a month or whatever. I don't even know what that note is for the next 2 or 3 years. It was
And
so cool.
so to jump on that point, it's kind of crazy that we look at, you do this for a while and you look at, oh, it was only another 140, another 300, another five, but those are real numbers. Like sometimes I think we say this a lot, but 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever your passive is, doesn't matter. We can lose sight of the fact that a few $100s a month coming in every month. I mean, if you rewind back, you have a bill paid for the next 3 to 5 years. And then next thing you know, it's like the carpet, like these little payments, we can lose sight of that, I think is what I'm saying, because we do so many deals now that is really exciting, right? It is really powerful and it can change your life.
It totally is. Like I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad with my 3 older kids. I mean, they're not old. I mean, my daughter's only 11, but we're reading it, and we do it like book club. Like we sit around on Sunday mornings and we talk about Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like and and I asked her what this was about, and she said, "I think it's about being like smart money wise." And I said, "Financial intelligence?" She's like, "Yes, I think that's what it is." And we're going back and forth, and the concept of like keeping up with the Joneses. I'm talking about it with my kids, and they don't really quite get it. That's a really abstract concept for
Right.
Mm-hmm.
a kid, right? And they're like, "But but how come you drive?" I mean, I drive a 2010 Chevy Impala. That car
Nice.
is a solid turd. It's a turd burger. That car sucks. And I work from home, and I've put 55,000 miles on it in like 10 years. So it's like, who
Right.
cares, right? It doesn't matter. And a buddy of mine had got a truck, and they're like, so you should want, if you were keeping up with the Joneses, Daddy, you would want that truck.
Nice.
And I said, I
Good point.
desperately want Ken's truck. Are you kidding me? It's like this big Dodge Ram 2500. I'm like, it's a killer. And they're like, well, what would that be? And I go, here's the financially intelligent way to do that. I take $10,000 that I've already made in profit. I go buy 2 $5,000 properties. I sell them for like $250 a month each. So I'm making $500 a month. And I go out and I buy that truck with a $500 a month payment.
Yeah.
My kids are like, wait, then you wouldn't have paid for that truck at all. I go, yeah, who paid for the
Right.
truck? And they're like, the people who are buying your land. And I'm like, now you got it. I'm like,
Nice.
all right. Day 1 is over. We're on to chapter 2 next week.
That
Case
is
closed.
awesome. That
But
is
that's
awesome.
it. right? Like I've refused to buy a truck because I just refuse to buy a truck because I'm just cheap. But that's the dream, right? Is doing that. And yeah, $125 is not interesting. And it's both why this is so good as a niche and why it is so bad all at the same time,
Good point. Good point. Continue
right?
with that thought.
Well, it's so bad because you do a mountain of work and you just made $125 and who cares? What are
Right.
you gonna do? Go out for dinner and not a very good one,
Yeah.
right? I
Tell your
mean,
friends you made $125 a month. They're like, great, nice, good job, Matt.
yeah, please don't ever talk to me again, right? And that's also what makes this whole niche so good, is because when you tell your friends they don't want to do it, nobody wants to do it because it's a mountain of work until you can outsource that work, and then you're not the one doing that work, and you got 100 notes at an average of $175 a month, and all of a sudden you're making $17,500 a month for putting in 2 hours a week. And then all of a sudden your friends go, wow, you're the smartest guy on the planet.
Right.
Exactly.
3 years later.
Yeah, they
4
don't want to
years
hear when
later.
it's 150 a month, and when you sell 10 of them and it's 1,500 a month, now they're like,
Yeah.
you don't.
Oh,
They don't
he's
want to
onto
talk about it either.
something.
Like it switches real quick. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
That's how it, everybody wants to, they want to protect you. They're your friends. They
Right.
don't know how horrible they are. They don't understand how soul crushing their comments are. They just don't get it because they altruistically want to help you. You're their friend. And what they just don't understand is they are the problem.
Well, the socially constructed comments, they're comments that everybody makes, and because we're all sort of in this little cycle, right? This circle, and they make these, right? But you're breaking into another area now that's unfamiliar. It's uncharted to most people, including ourselves, before we do it. So it's just outside of that, that
Well,
normal sphere.
change is scary, right? Learning new stuff is scary, even though that's how we grow. But I think there's this whole thing of, trying something new. It's just a waste of time. You shouldn't go do it. It's a scam.
Mhm.
This land is a scam. Everything's a scam. Everything you see on YouTube is a scam. It's all like it all can't be done. Like honestly, after doing this for so long, I'm starting to think that I bet half of the stuff that I see on YouTube, if I actually applied myself and just did what they said, I bet I'd make money at like half of it.
I
Right.
agree with you.
Probably more.
That's a true statement. I've actually reframed the way I look at those things and say, well, that's
Yeah.
just something, if I were to commit my time and effort to and stay consistent, I would have results. But that's also could become shiny object syndrome when we already have something that demonstrably works, right?
That's the right use of that word. Yes, I would never go do any of those things because why would I? I've already
Earlier.
got something that works. But there is that, I think people want the quick hit, right? They want to go make big money. Like if it's easy, then it's a lie.
Mhm.
Because if it was easy, everyone would do it, and if everyone did it, it wouldn't work. In anything you do, the easier it is, the more of a commodity it is, the less value you're going to get out of it. Period. Don't care what it is. That's just the way economics work, right? And so that's what makes this so interesting. It's low money in, right? There's absolutely a proven recipe that works, and you're either going to pay by failing all over the place and learning on your own, or you're going to pay for some education. One or the other. You're going to pay either way, one or the other. And it works. And it works in a way where it just takes a lot of time. And that's just not what people want. They don't want that. They don't want to go spend years building something that could, literally can change their life. But they don't want to do that. I don't understand. That's the part of this I don't understand, Mike. I don't understand how after sitting at a bar and talking to you about this for 2 hours, you are not banging down my door asking me how I do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And no one ever does.
Yeah.
That puzzles me.
It's too outside their comfort zone.
Always.
It's yeah, that's what it is, right? And we just
Yeah.
make it too complicated. What do? Mike Zano, we put too much emotion into it when it's all about the motion,
Yeah, don't let your emotion block the motion. You know, I use that so much now. Were you here, Forbes, when he brought that out? Do you
The,
remember?
the other day, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah, you
use
guys
that
were talking
almost
about it the
every
other day.
day now. It's like when I'm trying to do something like, you want to call someone, you're like, you put no, wait a minute. Just get the emotion out of the way. You need to do this.
Hmm.
Just stop thinking about it. It's like it's the way to stop overthinking things, right? Get the emotion out of the way of the motion. And it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, I love it. That should be your new
Awesome.
sign
Did
back
you?
there.
I know. I'm making a sign. I'm
Am I
redoing
gonna
my
put
office.
in it?
I'm redoing my office. I'm painting the wall the same color as Mike Zano. I'm getting white framed pictures
SB in
with
quotes.
yeah, I'm gonna put SB behind my quote, and I'm gonna have a picture of Yoda on the wall just because
I
that's
love it.
how it is. And Yoda, I mean, there are gonna be all sorts of Scott Todd analogies with the Yoda picture. So you can have your horse picture with the fly, and I'm gonna have Yoda.
I
I'm gonna
love
talk
it.
about it, Scott Todd and how he's my master Yoda, and that's just how it is.
That's so powerful because all those movies that we love watching, they're really archetypes. Like they point to like the power within us, right? So they should motivate you. And I think that there's so much there. So I think that's awesome.
All right, I'm doing it.
Landon, sister, you are.
We got some comments here. Oh man, we got a lot of comments.
We just did the
Uh,
opening. That was just the open. What do you call that opening when we just rattle? What's it called? Remember we had a name for it? The banter. No, not the
Yeah.
banter. The back and forth. We had a name for that. We just start off
uh,
by
Disaster?
no.
No, not disaster.
That was really good, Matt. What we just talked about when the points you brought up, that's going to help somebody. I know it.
you know
Somebody's
what?
listening right now, and that helps.
I
I'm
doubt it. We'll
gonna
see.
I'm gonna broadcast that 10 minutes tomorrow to TikTok live, and
Yeah, we have a TikTok channel, and
yep,
that's where Matt Forbes hangs up.
yep,
And,
exactly.
and for those reasons, I'm out.
I love it.
Marcus Eady is here. What's up, Marcus? Darren Nichols is here as always. What's up, Darren? Joe LaFrance is asking, "What is this?" So Joe must have just kind of stumbled across us on YouTube. Joe,
Joe,
we're
we
gonna
love
give you
it.
a Joe. We love it. We're gonna give you a 30-second summary on what this is. Who wants to do it? Mike
Not
Zano.
me. Yeah.
All right,
30
who's got
second summary. Who are we? What are we doing
who's
here?
got the stopwatch?
I got the stopwatch. You ready?
No.
All right, here, hold on. Set,
I'm awake.
go.
We target vacant land in rural areas. I'm already up to a great start. Basically, mail people offers. We want to buy their land 25 cents on the dollar, and believe it or not, these people who don't live near the property sell it to us. We can turn around and sell it for full market value, and we can sell it on a monthly payment. We sell it for $150, $200 a month, but we can sell 10 of them, 20 of them, 30 of them. We can build up passive income that exceeds our fixed expenses, and it brings freedom.
28 seconds, dude. After a rough start.
I know.
Pretty
I was
good.
like tripping over my words. Yeah, this is
Pretty good.
so. So if this is your first time watching us, first off, this is sort of a late night show. We are having a few drinks, so it is a little tongue in cheek. But the behind it all, this banter and this attempt at comedy is a real business model. It's all about investing in raw land. Basically, you don't need a lot of money. We buy land for $1,500, $2,000. We buy land for a lot cheaper sometimes, and we sell it to people who want this land. And trust me, where we buy this land, people want this land, and they pay us a monthly payment, and we can do this over and over again. And the bigger, most important part is that we can outsource all of the processes that we go through on a daily basis, so we can reduce our time involvement as we increase our profit. It's pretty awesome.
Scales. It scales. It's amazing. Let's see. Darren Nichols says we all sound good. Ken Green.
What's up, Ken?
So he was talking about you were talking earlier, Mike, about kind of the epiphany that Matt Forbes had.
Yes.
Ken Green, I think his comment is this: when mailing and getting responses and closing a deal. So that was kind of his realization that this was all going to work
Good
for
point, Ken. Great point.
him. Joel Meganson has a question. This is a great question.
All right. Great.
And I'll start, and then we'll go to Mike, and then we'll go to Matt. Did all three of you start with the Investors Toolkit only pre-flight school? So I did start with the Investor Toolkit. I think with the Investor Toolkit, you have to be very disciplined to sit down an hour or two a day and try to figure this out, because you're putting together this really large jigsaw puzzle by yourself. And you need a lot of discipline. It's a do-it-yourself program, but I was motivated to change my life. I was all hopped up on Rich Dad Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant and the Get Rich Education podcast and all this stuff. And I'm like, I got to do something. And I discovered Mark Podolsky, and I thought, this sounds genius. And I came home one night and I said to my wife, this is what we're doing. And she looked at me funny. But I ordered the toolkit that night and I got to work. And with the hard work, I was able to do a few deals. And then I went to a Land Geek boot camp and met Mark and Scott Todd and the rest of the crew and went into one-on-one coaching. We did not have flight school at the time, though I wish we would have, because it's just such an efficient pathway to doing deals. And you don't have to put the recipe together on your own. It's built for you, and you just got to follow it. So if you're good at following a recipe and baking a cake, there you go. Mike?
Yeah, so I started with the toolkit. There was no flight school. In fact, I met Scott Todd at my first boot camp, and just watching him over the years start to develop what became flight school. Listening to him because he was mentoring people at the different boot camps from that point forward, he just really had a great grasp on things. So I did not have a flight school. I was fortunate to watch him sort of begin, to sort of formulate that. And I remember hearing him talk about spinning plates and like, what are these spinning plates? Like, what is he talking about? But, so no, there was no flight school. Had I, been able to access flight school, I certainly would have done that. It's a very direct route to the success that we all seek, but it didn't exist. So the toolkit, and then I worked directly with Mark and mentored under Scott by following his example. And yeah, so flight school would have been great. It just didn't exist at the time. So we're very fortunate to have that now to help people.
Awesome. Matt Forbes, how'd you get started, buddy?
Well, I talked to you, which was the worst thing I've ever done in my whole life. I went
I think there were multiple conversations, actually.
What? Yeah, I called you a couple of times. I went straight to flight school. I don't think that I could get the toolkit and be successful. I just get in my own way, and I know that about myself. And I've tried other things before, so I understand that that's what I would do. So when I said this is what I want to do, my wife was like, "Well, how do we do it?" And I was like, I'm gonna do flight school. You don't have to do it." And then about probably 6 or 8 months after flight school ended, I ended up going into coaching for a year, and it was great. And it's just like the express road of how to get there. Doesn't mean you need to do that, right? All the information's there, right? But I think the toolkit is like, I don't know, a 5,000 piece puzzle upside down. It's like all the pieces are there. Putting it together, like if you're good at that stuff, you're going to be fine, no problem. If you're like me and you're going to get stuck on, well, what if I send the wrong contract? Am I going to get sued? And if that like freezes you into inaction, then you need something more, right? So access to Scott Todd once a week for whatever, a quarter or 16 weeks or whatever it was, where I could ask live questions and go through the process with him was like mind-blowing. And it's even better now. Like back when I did it, nobody was buying and selling stuff in those first 16 weeks. Like that didn't happen. Now that's routine. So that was my path for sure.
Awesome.
You know why else it's better now?
I'm not in it.
No.
Why?
No, because now we have unlimited Voxer support.
So that was like one of the best parts about coaching. So that's huge. Right. So much of this business is just getting stuck on one small stupid thing and then not taking the next step as a result. And there's a lot of next steps in this business. There's a lot of little tiny stuff you got to get done to make it work. So that was one of my most favorite things about coaching was I could text Tate, and he would text me back almost immediately.
Yep.
And it was awesome. It was so useful. So.
Yeah. We really want to be there to provide the support. In fact, we had it today. We had about 14 people there. We have a working
Yeah, it was a
lunch.
good turnout.
Anybody in our Mighty
cool.
Networks is invited to it. It's an hour long. It's just Q&A. Let's talk about what today we did some screen sharing. Someone had a problem with with LG Pass, got fixed it right there live with their screen share. Someone wanted to know about county research. We screen shared and we showed how to do that using Landmodo and County GIS. I mean, it's accessible to everybody. So we really want to be there to support.
Super cool.
Awesome. Eric Burke says flight school is the best way. Darren Nichols agrees. Username unavailable on YouTube. Not sure what your name is, but he says he's a lot like Matt Forbes. Needs a constant, not he or she needs a constant kick in the pants.
Just wildly handsome and in shape and fit. That sounds like Matt Forbes. I think that's how most of us are, right? I mean, most of us have a job when we start this. So like you have a job and a busy life and you're just going to start a business on the side
Right.
with some words on a paper. That's a lot. I think it takes a super special person to go just get the information and go do it. I've met them and I'm in awe of them. I just could never do it. It's just not how I learn. It's not how I function. So I'm really glad that they did have flight school because I personally don't think if I had the toolkit, I would have survived. But I don't know. I never once looked at the toolkit for the record. I have no idea. All I know is all the information's in there. That's all I know.
It is in there. We're in the process of redoing it, which needs to be done every few years. So it's Joel Peterson, actually. He said that was very helpful. He was on our working lunch today, and he said that was a very helpful demo you did earlier today, Mike. Really helped him out a lot, and that's what it's all about. I mean, somebody says they like the toolkit. I liked the toolkit. I love being presented with a task, and I mean, this is why I was successful, I think, in grad school. Like, okay, my professor says to me, okay, you need to go study this, and you need to take an exam on this. You need to learn all of the inner workings of the ankle, the knee, the hip, whatever. And then you need to apply your knowledge to examining a patient, evaluating a patient, figuring out a treatment regimen for them. The toolkit for me was kind of similar to that school assignment. And I wanted to take that knowledge, go through it, and apply it. And I liked the toolkit too. But I think you really do have to be a person that is you have to like do-it-yourself stuff, right? You have to be very disciplined to do that stuff.
Well, that's a good point you make too, because even if you look at that like taking a class or whatnot, and that's the homework, still it would behoove you to continue to, like, if you really wanted to be a physical therapist or someone to the next level of education to further that, right? So you get the basics, like, okay, great, I really want to do this now. I understand the fundamentals. And to have at your fingertips the ability to go to a deeper study that's going to really catapult your success, that's just a natural progression. It's natural. It's the way you succeed.
Yeah.
It is a natural progression. And that's also very, I mean, there's a parallel there with my career, because when I was a PT for a few years and I got what I thought I was good at it, well, let's see how good I am at it. Like, I want to become a board certified therapist. Well, in order to become a board certified therapist, you need 10,000 hours. You need to pay a lot of money to take this really extensive exam. And if you pass, you're out the money, right? So like I had to pay $1,000 to take an 8-hour exam. And if I failed that exam, I'm out the money.
8 hours?
Yeah.
Of an exam?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Just
to become
just absolutely zero chance I'm putting myself through that. Zero chance. 0.00.
8 hours?
It's craziness. It was crazy.
Oh my
We got to
God.
leave for lunch. I remember it was a 4 hours in the morning. I went across the street for lunch. I somehow put a salad down and bit my nails for 30 minutes and went back and took the rest of the exam. It's pretty intimidating. But what did that tell me about myself? Like, I don't know. I just, again, like that I'm capable, that I wanted to become an expert in something, and I was able to do that. And that mentality, I think, helped me with land too. It was very kind of a parallel journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It can be done. I mean,
but
I don't
can.
want people to think like it can't be done. It totally can be done. You just have to not quit. I think it also, for the most part, would take longer. Right. I think
Yeah.
it's just a shortcut to have somebody live tell you what to do and then just
Right.
go do it. But yeah.
Awesome. Any questions out there? Any wins we need to celebrate? Any deals we can we could do a deal review. We could talk about a deal. I think we've all had multiple deals in the last
We
week or
could
two.
talk about that amazing shirt you're wearing, Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, it's a mixed gym shirt.
Mixed
Love that.
gym.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty cool, huh?
Because I have an old Rocky shirt,
Yeah.
but that shirt is pretty cool.
My wife got that for me. She's pretty awesome.
I feel like when you wear that shirt, you're like, Mike, you're a bum. You got no
Yeah.
heart.
I love it. Mick. Have you guys seen the new Creed movies? I saw the first one.
Love it. Love it.
I gotta watch
Yeah.
the second one yet. I haven't watched the second one.
I love how they freeze it and show you the guy's stats and all that. I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's
And
cool.
I love Rocky. So, no questions. All these people, we can go on. Believe me, we can rant and rave and talk. But because I still haven't heard your turning point, we heard Matt's. When the business became real
Yep,
and it.
Bosman.
We never heard Bossman.
Share.
So if nobody has a question, I'd love to hear Bossman's turning point.
The turning point.
When was it? And this is like, no, I did. Maybe it's the first deal, but it was like, whoa, like.
I think.
Wow.
I think for me, I mean, the first deal is always huge. The fact that, and for me to never have done anything like this before, because I come from a family of farmers and nurses and doctors and people and tradesmen, construction workers, building inspectors, city workers. Like, this is so outside the norm for my family. For me to turn $700 into $2,800, the first sale, that was huge. Showed me I could do it. Then I got in kind of just I just got in a rhythm. And I just like, okay, this works. Let's just keep doing it. Let's just keep doing it. Let's just keep doing it. And I think when it really kind of hit me was on my 2-year anniversary of ordering the toolkit, or right around that time. I made a post in the Facebook group, and I had surpassed my physical therapist salary with passive income. And up until that point, I was kind of treating this like I don't know, thinking of it as like a side hustle.
Right.
And I saw some comments pouring in, and I'm like, looking back, and I didn't give myself enough credit. I never do. That's just kind of one of my faults. I think I kind of realized that, wow, I've done something pretty cool here in the last 2 years. What happens if I just keep doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that time, just all these possibilities opened up in my mind. And then I had the goal of, okay, what does it look like if I triple this? Right?
Right.
Then freedom is there. So, yeah, freedom. So for me, that was what?
You just got me thinking about one of the first terms deals I did was a property I bought off of Jeff Axon for $800 wholesale. I bought a 5-acre in Costilla, $800 wholesale from him. and
$800.
I sold it for $2,400 on terms, and I thought it was like the most incredible thing. And now we know now that those things were wholesale for what I sold at retail at that time.
Yeah,
It was pretty crazy. It's like, wow, this is great. Yeah, so funny, huh?
it is
Land is
funny.
appreciating.
Land is appreciating for sure. All right, Zeno, we got to hear from you, and then we do have a question.
Oh, I could tell you right now, the one thing that happened to me is the first couple of years, I just got, the wholesale bug. I didn't really focus on passive income at all. It's just I became addicted to that quick dollar. It served its purpose, paid out the 40 grand debt. I wanted to get married, all that stuff. So I think it was, I definitely knew that you could buy low and sell high. But as far as the business model, a couple of years in when I started doing terms deals is when that really started to click. But you can get, you know, it was so easy for me to work with other investors that it was almost sort of became a crutch at that point, like, well, I don't really sell retail. I sell to investors, and it's just so simple. And so even though I know everybody else was doing it, right, I was just like, well, my customers are investors, and it's just a different thought process, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the turning point was when I sort of started making that shift and just doing my own retail. I had a very comfortable base of wholesalers. It was just very simple. Yeah.
That's awesome. You laid the foundation there, dude. The first couple of years, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, all right, here's a question from Joel. When I'm doing county research for current price points, I've heard I need to focus on a specific neighborhood, not the whole county.
Yeah.
Is that right? It's exactly right, Joel. You want to be surgical, as Tate Litchfield says. You want
Great
to
term.
dig into a certain area. And Forbes, what's up?
I don't like the thought of a neighborhood.
Well, subdivision.
I think I'll take subdivision. The neighborhood thing makes it
I like
seem
subdivision.
like that's like too focused, right?
Yeah.
Go find an area where like they're all kind of the same size, they're all kind of going to be priced the same way.
Yeah.
That's a subdivision. That's really what you're looking for.
Not like a
Love
couple
it.
of street corners or a neighborhood. I get you.
I think of a neighborhood, I'm like, well, there's 8 neighborhoods near me, and then this whole model falls apart.
Yeah.
Right. This model is predicated upon finding a big group of properties, 500, 600, 5,000, where you can do your research, figure it out, do a good job, and then start mailing big time, going out and buying properties and having all that stuff be true. You can buy it for X, you can sell it for Y, and you've got 3 in inventory and 4 more in the hopper, and you're selling 1 a week, and let's go. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Mike Zeno, I loved what you said today in the working lunch. When you go to a county GIS site, and look at you go to a county GIS site, and you're doing county research, and you're finding an area. You want it to look like graph paper. Graph paper. Like you're looking at your screen, huh?
Like from math class.
Like from math class. All these things are just it's a grid of property. And we love grids of property, thousands of properties of the same size.
Yes.
As long as other land investors are working there. Sometimes you see thousands of properties of the same size, and here's something that's I don't know, to me is kind of interesting. Like sometimes you see these subdivisions that are all platted out. There's not 1 ounce of activity going on there. There's no campers, there's no homes, there's no nothing. Like to me, that's a yellow flag. That something's up with that area. But if you find an area where there's a home here, a camper here, some power lines here, baby. That's it right there.
Good. Let me know. Send me the coordinates and let me know.
Joel Peterson, how does the free 1 acre lot you get with the VIP flight school package work? So we have 2 flight school packages. If you get the VIP package, basically it just you will be deeded a property in the first half of flight school from Mark Podolsky or from Frontier Properties, from Tate Litchfield, likely. And you take that property and run. So as soon as you got that parcel number from Tate, start marketing that thing. There's no reason to hold back on that. So that's kind of how it works. And Joel, if you have more questions about that, let me know. Frank, hello, just got on. I'm looking to buy some land for hunting. Thoughts?
Okay.
So Frank,
Go to my website.
yeah, go to our
What
website.
state, Frank? Where you looking? What state?
What kind of hunting? Rattlesnake hunting, boar hunting, elk hunting? Come on, Frank. What are we looking at here? Rattlesnake
Yeah.
and boars, Texas. Matt Forbes, you got Texas land.
I got how much you want? 5, 10, 15, 20, or 50 acres. I got them all in Texas. Deer,
Oh,
there's
deer.
mule deer. I almost hit one with a truck when I was out there.
Frank, I got some
Fake-
Colorado
Fake
land.
camping.
But Frank, what I would do is go to some land selling websites. We love Landamoto because
You
there's
say
very
Colorado?
affordable land. What's that?
You said Colorado?
I said Colorado because
Oh,
there's lots of deer.
yeah.
Lots of deer out there. But yeah, check out landmoto.com. You will find hunting land, in all different areas for very affordable. And the other thing, Frank, is you can finance the property. So you could buy it for $100 down, $100 a month, which is pretty awesome. John Rodriguez, are any of you looking in Florida? If so, where? So I think we've all done deals in Florida. Florida's pretty hot right now. Pretty competitive. Prices are a little bit higher. There's a ton of areas in Florida. What I would recommend is just, again, go to landmoto.com, landflip.com, and see where other land investors are doing deals in Florida. There's a ton of vacant land in Florida.
I got a lot in Florida.
Nelson Garcia, I think we got a win here, fellas. Paid $900 for a wholesale parcel 3 weeks ago. Here we got a win. Just got a down payment for $299, and on the verge of closing that cash deal for $29.99 plus a $199 doc fee.
Fantastic.
So got the toolkit in Maine. This is his second deal. He's starting to become a believer. He kills bugs for a living. Never went to college. Never ran a business before. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Nelson Garcia, that is
Nelson?
awesome.
Nelson,
Yeah, Nelson.
if you believe this model works, which now you see that it does, jump to flight school. Get the jump start. Roll this forward. Take the leap.
Wait, what did
Join
he?
us.
Hold on. What did he buy it for?
900
So he bought it.
wholesale.
He bought it
$3,000.
for 900 wholesale, and he's selling it for around $3,000 cash plus a doc fee.
What do you mean you're starting to believe? I mean, what the hell? Like, what are you looking for? Like the clouds to part? You took $900, made it a $3,000 plus blah blah. Dude, it's time. It's time to say I believe and go do the hard work. I'll see you in 3 years when you don't have that job anymore.
Yeah.
Deadly serious. Deadly serious.
It's
100%.
definitely,
That's
you know,
awesome.
I
Good for you.
can say this for Nelson. It's definitely going to fuel the fire. Like when that money shows up in the bank account, holy crap! Like, here's another thing I'll never forget, guys. I'll just share this because it just came to my mind. It's like a small epiphany, right? Like, okay, so I'm married. I work hard. I don't make a ton of money as a PT, honestly, 5-6 years ago, right? I have 4 boys. You know, like going out to a meal was somewhat of a stressful occurrence because
I relate.
it didn't happen number one, it didn't happen very often. Number two, like the bill, right? Is like crazy. It's like $200 to feed my family for a nice meal. You know, $200. But I remember one time I did a land deal. And I'm like, listen, let's go celebrate. And we went out and celebrated, and we had a nice meal, and I had no worry. And it's amazing. And Forbes, I know you've had the same feeling. Like, you're not the Disneyland dad guy, but you were this summer. And can you imagine 3 or 4 years ago, could you even have imagined being that guy? No, because it just wasn't even in your radar.
No.
And
Yeah.
In
you
fact,
went there this summer and did it, and you left there feeling, yes, I spent a lot of money, but you were carefree and fancy free about it.
and didn't care, and still don't care, for the record. I went and I was talking to somebody at work today, and my brother had borrowed my RV and crashed it, and it has to get fixed again. And I dropped
Oh
off at the
no.
place, and yeah, so no, sorry for another day. But the guy was like, he's like, well, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. I'm like, how much is it gonna be? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, whatever. I'm telling a guy at work, and he's like, oh, dude, that's gonna be like $1,800, $2,000, maybe like $2,500. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, that sucks. And I'm like, doesn't suck. I'm like, it's awesome. My brother didn't die, and what's $2,500? A property? I don't care. He's like,
Right.
you always do that. You always just equate it to some fictional thing. And I'm like, it's not fictional, man. It's like it's I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I
Yeah.
care, but I don't care.
Yeah, it's reframing.
I gotta get it
Yeah,
fixed.
true.
It's gonna cost what it costs. I have the money. Let's go. It's all good.
Yeah.
He just couldn't get it. He like,
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What happened? Did we
He
lose-
froze. I don't know what happened.
oh, me?
Oh,
Did I
there,
freeze?
there he's back.
Yeah.
You froze
It
there
was
for a
very-
minute.
It was a very awkward freeze.
Yeah, sorry. So
okay.
that was weird. Like my buddy at work, he like couldn't comprehend. Not to say that he couldn't afford to go spend $2,500 to go fix something, but
How
like
you weren't
he's
worked
good.
up over it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm like, how many points do I get? Let's do this. Let's go. Care. So, yes, you are correct, Scott. It definitely, when you do this at scale, right, and you got, 50, 100, 200 notes, yeah, you can go out. It doesn't, you can go do those things. What's interesting is you take your lifestyle, if you really don't go into too much debt in a year, right? Let's say you make 45 grand or 60 grand or whatever. You probably spend 45 or 60 grand. You're probably very neutral yearly.
Right.
Yeah.
Most Americans are neutral or negative. So if you make 60 grand a year and you go buy some for 900 and sell for 3,000, you got an extra, $2,000-3,000 when it's all said and done. That's a big deal because you're no longer neutral. You can go really parlay that and really get that going, and you get that passive number to 1,000 a month, and then 5, and then 10, and then 15. Yeah, all of a sudden, if you keep your job, that's all gravy, and that's a lot of gravy. And then you start going, I don't think I want this job anymore, and you probably don't need that job either. And the second you quit your job, I bet your passive number goes up dramatically because you have more time to work on the business. So it's like, yeah, that's what this does for you.
Awesome. Matt Forbes, you're full of all sorts of gems tonight.
I'm really
You're
tired.
you're being broadcast to TikTok all day tomorrow.
Oh, that'd be great. Can I? That'd be super.
I just ordered an iPhone tripod, and I'm going to go just set it up right here in front of my screen tomorrow, and we're just going to broadcast. It's going to be fun.
Okay. Well, let me know. That sounds terrible.
Any other questions? Well, thank you everybody for coming. As always, we enjoy being here and answering questions and, shooting the breeze. We will be here what day next week, Mike Zano? Now, last week you promised Thursday and we ended up on Wednesday. So next week, are we promising Wednesday and ending up on Thursday, or what's going on?
Well, we just go for Thursday. Let's just keep it simple.
We'll show up. We'll show up whenever.
I have no faith that you're going to do this, so I'm not going to put it on the calendar.
I mean,
Well,
we show up
so
week to week. It's just a little last minute.
So happy to spend time with both of you guys. This has been great.
You too, buddy.
Pretty soon we'll be having our next reunion or anniversary party.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, Wisconsin in April. Is that right? 4-year anniversary of Nightcap.
Wisconsin in April.
Sounds nice, doesn't it?
Doesn't sound horrible.
I mean, it doesn't suck. I say let's go. Let's
Barry
get some
Graham
tickets.
says, "Thanks, Facebook friends. We got
Where
it
do you live,
done."
Maybe
I
I'll
live
drive
in
the
Wis-
RV out. How's
Yeah,
April
Lacrosse
in
with-
Wisconsin? Sounds cold.
Great. You gonna
Across
pick us up
Wisconsin.
on the way?
It's either 70 or blizzarding. That's how it is in April in Wisconsin. So
Oh, Zano,
hard to say.
I'll pick you two guys up in Haverhill, and we'll take 90 out to Wisconsin. It'll be great.
That'll be amazing.
It'll be great.
It'll be
Yeah.
like meet
You
the
don't even
Fockers.
have to. It's a straight shot, I-90 all the way, and I'm 1 mile off there. It's craziness.
What's the okay, hold on.
That will be fun, actually.
Now
That'll be very fun.
Now I'm awake. You see how I was like asleep for an hour and now I'm awake?
Yeah.
I am so into this.
Wisconsin. I'm just gonna look at Wisconsin, I guess.
On Alaska.
You're Alaska?
O-N, Alaska. Onalaska. On Alaska, Wisconsin.
On Alaska, Wisconsin. Oh, you're not kidding. You really are off 90, huh?
Yeah, I'm like
Oh,
a mile off
okay.
90, dude.
Oh, that's a one night trip probably. Directions from
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably take you 12 hours driving, don't you think?
yeah, I would say so. Like 6-7 hours is you can do
20
that.
hours.
Oh, 20 hours. Yeah, that's what
Oh.
I'm seeing too. That's a 3-day trip in the old rolling turd. That's as my brother calls it, the floating toaster.
We could
No.
meet in Chicago.
Oh my
It's
God.
5 hours less.
God.
5 hours less. Or do you guys
We
just
could
fly in?
Yeah.
So, well, if you
Yeah,
fly
we
into
could-
Chicago, you fly
Well, we
into
can stay outside Chicago, right on the Great Lakes there.
right on the Great Lakes there.
You book us something.
We'll talk about it. Everybody have a good night. Nice to talk to you. A few dates coming up quick before we leave.
We still
September
live?
29th. September 29th is the next flight school. I didn't hear that. What'd you say?
I said, are we still live? I just
Yeah, we're
assumed
still
we had
live.
shut that down.
September 29th is the next flight school. 16 consecutive Wednesday nights. You'll be doing deals by Christmas. You'll have 5 to 10 properties by Christmas. That's pretty awesome. Maybe a few weeks after Christmas. We have a virtual boot camp coming up October 22nd through the 24th. 3 days on Zoom. It's a lot on Zoom, but listen, you're going to learn a lot. So those are some next dates for you guys. And if you ever want to talk about land investing, drop us a line.
Oh,
Fellas?
I see how you would go.
It is 90.
Wait a second. Hold on. We could like take a bus. Is there a bridge over a Great Lake near Milwaukee?
No, don't go through Milwaukee. That adds 15 minutes onto your trip.
Onto the
Chicago.
21 hours?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
So what do? You take 90. Oh, okay, 90 to Buffalo, and then it drops down through Cleveland. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait. Oh. I like this
Yeah?
idea.
This is going to work.
I
All
like
right,
it
everybody.
Because
All right, guys.
Bye,
have a good
everyone.
night.
Bye. Good night. We'll talk later. We'll let you know what becomes of our travel plans.
Hey, it's Mark Panofsky, the Land Geek, with your favorite niche real estate website, www.thelandgeek.com. And on this week's roundtable, we got the usual suspects, a full group. We've got Do Buddy, the Nightcap OG, Scott Bossman. Scott, how are you?
I'm great, Mark. Thanks for having us.
Good to see you. We've got your cohort in crime, the Zen Master. Breathe in the mailing, breathe out the marketing. Mike Zano. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Very happy to be here.
We've got the most feared woman in the country, the terrorist hunter, Mimi Schmidt. Mimi, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I need you to be Aunt Mimi and talk to my son about the CIA, because after watching and binging Jack Ryan, he thinks he wants to be in the CIA.
Okay. I'd love to talk to him
What-
just about
what-
those type of jobs in general. FBI, the CIA, National Terrorism Center. There's lots of different places to do that kind of work. National Counterterrorism Center, NTC, NCTC, right? Liberty Crossing.
All right, great. We've got the technician, Eric Peterson. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
Good to see you. I love it when you call me Big Papa. Tate Litchfield. Tate, how are you doing?
Doing really well. I'm jealous I'm not on the beach with you.
You should be jealous, but I'm jealous that I'm not on the second season of Lots. If you know what I'm talking about, just go to landgeek.com/lots and look over Tate's shoulder and see how he runs his land business and get some cycling tips as well. And last but not least, you know him, you love him, Scott Todd, scotttodd.net, landmoto.com. If you're not automating your Craigslist and your Facebook postings, postingdomination.com/the land geek. Learn anything about anything, investorninjas.com. Scott Todd, how are you?
Mark, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I just realized that Mimi might be too supportive of.
Yeah,
Full
yeah.
time.
So I was gonna say, after the way she said that, next thing you know, he's not gonna be in the CIA. He's gonna be in one of these other things that she just said, these other acronyms, and like, you're gonna be like, "What happened?" Your wife's gonna be like, "Mark, what did you do?" You're like, "I thought she was gonna talk him out of it, but she's talked him into it. You sign right here on a dotted line or something. I don't know."
Move on up.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing some research on it. It's like, you need to know multiple languages. He's like, I know French. I'm like, not going to be a hotbed in France. But,
Duolingo, man,
I don't
Duolingo.
want to digress.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Are you kidding?
Oh, that's right. It is a hotbed.
It
Never
is a
mind.
hotbed.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well, now he's definitely not going to talk to Aunt Mimi. But we have a really good topic today, which is I want to go around and ask everybody, how much money do you think you needed to start with to really get going in the land business? And then when do you think you need to start raising money? So let's just start with the person that's going to keep us the calmest, Mike Zano. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is a subject that's it comes up a lot. I talk, Scott and I talked to a lot of people. Scott Boston and I come into business, and it's I came into business negative 40,000, right? Well, I still had to spend some money, right? But the reality is I didn't have a lot of free capital, and so I always say, geez, you'd like to have a couple of dollars for a few deals. If you buy 25 cents on the dollar, you're going to buy a couple of $2,000 properties. You want to have $1,000, right? You just whatever, just to buy some inventory and then support your mailings. I don't think it takes that much, though. I think that people often miss. You know what they often miss, and I talk about it on calls. Them is we don't. I don't know if we always talk about it that much, but the micro niche they're in. Why we're able to do what we do, and the price points. Our average purchase price is $1,500, $2,000. We get all our money back in a year. So I think sometimes that gets missed, right? That this is a small little environment they're in, so we don't really need a ton of capital, and so it's really interesting in that regard. So to start out, Mark, you got to have some money for your mailings. I don't care, everybody, I've heard people talk about, oh, there's this mailing service, that mail. I don't care if it's $1 mailing, really, because one deal is going to crush it anyway. So let's call it $100 a week for mailing. And then if you want to pick up a property, maybe $1,000 or $2,000, you'd be good to go. That being said, I didn't have really any money. I just kind of had to day trade, buy and wholesale. So there are other ways. If you're listening to us and you're like, I don't even have 2 pennies to rub together, that's okay. I didn't either, but I was still able to leverage the power of a deal. If you own the deal, you have the power, right? I mean, you can go to anybody in the group and be like, would you like to work with me? Would you like to buy it wholesale? Like me assign this to you? So first and foremost, you need to mail. And so if you don't have a ton of money, what we're all going to say here, don't sweat it. You can still make this roll.
All right. I love it. So if I had to press you, Mike,
Yep.
and just said for a number to start with, would your number be $1,400, $500? Negative $45,000.
Yes. You know, I'd say you'd be sitting pretty with $2,000. You'd be able to get this rolling. I think, because you know that you can get a couple little. Listen, start in the micro, blow it up in the macro. Perfect it in that small environment. You can buy property all day long. I just bought 47 properties for $100 a piece. I'm buying 47 more for $175 a piece. It can be done. It's not a. You don't need. It's. You just have to believe in it, right? So a couple $1,000, you're good to go. My opinion.
All right, Scott Bossman, what's your thoughts?
Well, I agree with almost everything Mike Zano said, as always, of course.
Oh.
But, I remember having a conversation with Scott Todd when I started coaching 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. During our first ever coaching call, I was afraid of running out of money. And he said, and I'll never forget this in so many words, you really have to have more faith in the model than anything. You just have to follow the recipe. You have to mail, as Mike Zano said, and the deal flow comes. As Mike said, you own that deal, and there are so many different ways you can move forward with that deal. You know, our first year in coaching, actually, I think we did 30 deals, and half of them were cash deals. Now, you can't dictate, what the market does or what the market wants. But, those cash deals went right back into our business. They fed our business to buy more property. And it gets to the point where it becomes kind of a churning machine in that way. You get deals that fund other deals. You get deals that turn into great wholesale deals. You take $500 or $500, $1,000, redeploy it in your business, go from there, and keep supplementing it with terms deals. I didn't take advantage of a couple of things back then that I know a lot of people are taking advantage of now, and that is selling notes and land arbitration deals. I mean, those are great ways to make your money move. And I would agree with Mike. I think a couple $1,000, it's a great start in this business.
Okay. Not to get too woo-woo and too much like law of attraction, but I really loved what you said about, Scott saying you got to have faith in the model. Because I used to get on the phone with Scott, and we would kind of tell these stories about times in our business where we really needed cash. And as soon as we were like, we need cash, the cash just came. Scott Todd, do you remember that? It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, and it still to this day is the weirdest thing. Like, I kid you not, like, I don't know, back in October, I felt like my bank account was getting pretty low, and like it was getting to the point where I was like a little panicked. My business bank account, I was like a little panicked. And I'm like, what's happening here? And you know what? I kid you not, we had a string of cash sales. And next thing I know, I'm like, I got too much cash. What did I do? Right? Like I got too much cash. And now, like to this day, this was months and months later, I've been on a cash string and I've been buying properties like crazy, and I still have too much cash.
Yeah, now I kind of like, do my vision board, just notes. And I show people like, not wanting to pay off the note early. But there were times when like I needed cash, and they paid the note off early. They wanted to pay cash, and it was insane. Mimi Schmidt, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree with Mike that you don't need any. $2,000 sets you up really nice, but you really don't need much. You need enough to mail, right? So many of the tools you can use. HubSpot's free, right? Gmail, the Gmail suite costs you what, $6 a month or something, right? There are a lot of these tools that you can, even the phone number, right? You can get the Gmail telephone number. So there's so much of this stuff that you can do for absolute free. And then you can pre-sell, double close, do things like that in addition to wholesaling, right, and land arbing. So I do that a lot. I'll pre-sell property and sell it, double close it. And then if I write a lob check to buy the property, it takes 10 days for the person I'm buying it from to get the lob check. But when I sell it, I'm getting that cash within 3 to 5 days. So a lot of times I'm getting the money before the money's going out, right? just by the way by the way I'm receiving the money and sending it out. So I think that's worth considering. And I will say, I think people think, when I get a lot of this when they start, oh, I'm having these issues with money management and I need help getting over that. As an entrepreneur, no matter where you are in scaling your business, the management of cash is going to continue to be an issue. You just have bigger money management problems, right? And having too much cash is an issue. I remember once last year, I took in a bunch of money from a retirement fund and took a loan to myself. Well, I was paying the money back in the loan before I could spend it and make money on it, right? I should have piecemealed it out a little bit and managed it coming in when I had the land to buy. So yeah, I'm coming up on 4 years this spring. I still have money management issues. I always will, because I have a business. So those are my thoughts.
I love it. I love it. So if I had to press you for a number to start, what would be your number?
So my son started doing it this past summer. He started with $500.
$500. Wow. And then given the evolution of your own business, Mimi, when do you think is a good time to start thinking about raising money or borrowing from yourself and tapping other lines or other sources of capital to grow?
I feel like when you've got the mailing and marketing down and you've got enough good deals, you understand the model enough where you can go out and buy. If you've got enough money right after flight school, if you're starting to get in good accepted offers and you feel confident about the prices that you're paying for the property, go for it.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Eric Peterson, the technician. I'd love to hear your technical take on the idea of capital to start, and then when you start to think about maybe doing a raise.
So I think I started with about $5,000 when I got started. Certainly I don't think you need that much, but I think that you should have some money for education. And that could take any form out there, but to be able to educate yourself is a big piece of the puzzle. Without that, you could be wasting a ton of money, sending out letters or blind offers or postcards or who knows. So the education piece is important. And then just enough money to mail. If you have, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks worth of money for mailings, I think that should get you in good enough shape that you can start to get some accepted offers and work them through the process. And if you have nothing more than that, well then, any of these other ideas that have already been talked about where, you're double closing, you're, doing that wholesale, or you're pre-selling, or any of the other options out there to get that capital in order to be able to close that deal. So, I don't think it takes a lot of money, but I do think that education piece is super important.
Yeah, I mean, and the most expensive piece of education that we have for the DIYers just starting out is only $19.97. So that's still within, the $2,000 mark, which oftentimes if you get the digital, it's much less than that. So you could get the education and start mailing with around $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a good number. Hey, Litchfield, what do you think? And Tate, did you Google what money is?
Yeah, no,
yeah. So, cause he's like the Venmo generation. He's like, what is this thing you call money? He's like, is there an app for that? So
I used all my allowance for my land business, Mark. All of it.
All of it.
But in all seriousness, I think I started with right around $5,000 like Eric. And let's be honest. Buying and selling land is a capital intensive business. If you don't build your business correctly, you'll run out of money very, very quickly. That's the reality.
So when do you start either looking at other sources of income, doing a raise?
Well, I think it comes down to building your business correctly, right? That's the important thing. If you build it correctly, if you know what you're doing, if you know where to buy land, if you know how to self-close it, and you're not using title companies, and you're hiring VAs that understand what your objectives are, it makes turning the money very, very easy, and it makes flipping your property, so to speak, almost predictable. I work with a guy all the time, and I swear every single month he comes to me with a new property to buy, and it's like fantastic. He makes a little money, I make a lot of money, we're both happy, and he's able to cover basically all of his mailing, all of his VA teams, and have a little extra money on the side off that deal. So it's pretty impressive that what you can do.
Okay, so if I had to press you, Tate, for a number to start, what would be your number?
Somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000, I think.
Do you include education in that?
No, I would say that education it's an entirely different part of the puzzle, in my opinion. You got to have an education. Otherwise, like I said, you're going to hear somebody on the internet or some Facebook forum tell you to mail and target properties in your home state, and you're going to mail and you're going to send out 3,000 offers, and you're going to get 2 angry phone calls, and that's it. And then you just wasted $3,000. So I think knowing what you're doing will not only give you that confidence to keep buying land, but it'll teach you what to look for and what makes a good county.
All right. I love it. And Scott Todd, when you started.
Okay, Mark, I started with $10,000 of capital to deploy. Okay, so that didn't include mailings, education, whatever. I just had $10,000 of capital to deploy. And basically, I would tell you, I probably had too much money, because the first property that I bought, like, I had to own it, and I probably overpaid. I should have paid like $3,000. I paid $4,000 for it. I overspent. No, by the way, my $10,000 budget, I actually went over. Okay, like, I'll admit it, I went over slightly, but by a couple $1,000s. If I were to do it all over again, I would do something very, very different. I would start with capital of like $500. And here's what I would do. Maybe 1,000. Here's what I would do is I'd pick up the phone, I'd call my buddy Tate, and I would ask him about land arbing some properties. And what he's going to do is he's going to tell me the properties that I can get for $100 today, literally $100 today. And then I'm going to take those properties and I'm going to start marketing the heck out of those properties. I'm going to sell them, create some cash flow. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing this to build up my passive income. Whether it's that, but you don't even have to like buy the property outright if you know the right people and think about this correctly. But you know, if you had more money, that's cool, because guess what? I know for a fact you can buy properties in like 1 acre properties wholesale for like $500. Like, they sell. I mean, there are people that we know that literally have bought some of these $500 properties and they've built a massive passive income on picking up $80 checks a month, $70, $80 checks a month. It's just like, keep giving me the little checks, man. Keep bringing them to me. It's mailbox money, but as we all know, it starts to spend, right? Like, it starts off small, you know, it pays the electric bill, pays the car bill, or maybe it pays maybe it pays the car insurance bill for a month, then it pays the electric bill, then it pays the car payment. Next thing you know, it pays the rent or the mortgage or half the mortgage. Next thing you know, you're paying off all your bills, but you got to build it, let it build. And I think the problem is that what we see oftentimes is that people are in such a hurry to scale. They'll say, "Oh, I'm not trying to get rich fast." Well, they do. That's their mindset. They want to scale so fast that they go out and they borrow all this money. And the reality is that, I mean, I've seen it time and time again. People go out and they borrow a bunch of money to go deploy. They start making bad decisions because they have all this money they have to deploy. And the next thing you know, guess what? They're out of the business. They're gone because they could not deploy that much money at one time. So, you know, be careful. You think about it. Think about the long-term perspective and build it slowly, and it will be a lot better than trying to build it all in the next 6 months.
Yeah, I really love what you said. and I love that sort of the different take of I wish I had less money, which is the Jack Ma. If you know Jack Ma, he started Alibaba as a Chinese billionaire, and he really credits his success to having no capital because it forced him to be so innovative, so creative, and just be so frugal in building his business the right way from the beginning. We all hear the stories of these VC companies that have too much capital, and they even from day one, they just aren't smart enough to innovate the right way, and they burn through their cash, and then you never hear from them again. So I really love that sort of counterintuitive take of it. My take is I started with $3,000. Duran started with $800, but at that point in time, there wasn't a wicked smart Mike Zano that I could just pick up the phone and buy a piece of property from for like $500 and flip it for $2,000 or something like that. Or there wasn't Tate. I couldn't really control a piece of land that might be worth $5,000 for $100 a month, which I could then immediately flip and start making the spread of $100 a month, so I could sell it for $200, $250 a month, and that baby money adding up. So as you guys are telling your stories, I can't tell you the jealous rage I'm feeling from the early days of going through this business and the unnecessary suffering that I had to go through compared to what everyone has at their disposal today. I truly am the land OG that had to walk uphill both ways compared to all of you. Just angry.
Okay.
Thinking about
Good for
it.
you.
And I can tell that Scott Todd has literally no compassion for that suffering. And nor should you, because it's made me a better investor.
I said thank you. Like, that's compassionate, isn't it? Like, we pay respect to the original OG. We got you.
Hey, can you help me out here?
Listen, I mean, yeah, we gotta, like Scott said, you know who the Godfather is, but I don't really feel bad that you stumbled for all those years. I mean, hey, man,
Something's in the
thank
air.
you for doing that. Thank you for wasting a lot of money so that I don't have to. But, I'm going to learn from your mistakes and save myself $1 million.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it for you, Tate.
I appreciate it, man.
For you.
Eric, on the other hand.
So I'm not talking about Eric. I'm happy for everybody on the round table and all the listeners. Very happy that I made those $1 million mistakes, so you wouldn't have to. It is gratifying, but it is hard to sort of listen and kind of have to think back to all that struggle. But I'm out of it. I'm in a better place, and I feel wicked smart and wicked generous that I can, go and help people with different ways of starting this business with very little capital and in those approaches. Mike Zano, what's on your mind?
I love raising my hand on these calls. I just want to hear Tate talk more about turning money. Something about that is just, I found awesome. Was I the only one that thought that? He's talking about turning money. I was just like, yes, turning money. That was a really great description for his business. I just wanted to point that out. I thought it was amazing. Anybody else feel that way when he said it? That was like, I've never heard anybody say it that way about a bit, but I felt really gratifying to hear him say turning money.
That's what you're doing. If you think about it, every time you sell a property on terms, you basically create a little mini ATM machine. And you go to it, and every single month, like Scott Todd does at boot camp, and you just sit there and you wait, and it's like, it spits out $100 for you. And you're like, sweet, this is amazing, right? So every property I sell on terms, I'm like, yep, ATM machine number 400.
What do you do for work, Tate? I turn money. What?
Yeah.
What? Are you on the Ozarks? I turn money.
I don't paint houses either.
Mark, it's funny. The other day, my wife and I were talking about buying something for the plane, right? Like, I was talking to her about adding something, And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I should, I don't know what I should do here. And then while we were at dinner, I'm sitting there and I'm sitting there at dinner and I see this transaction come across, and it was a cash sale. And we sold this land, and the investment, by the way, was like $8,000. Okay. Like we were thinking about like, okay, let's spend $8,000. So I'm sitting there and sell a piece of land. And I look and I'm like, oh, look, we just sold a property for cash for like 11,000, like 10,995. I'm like, what did we go buy the property for? And I went and I looked, and we paid $3,000 for the property. Okay. Like, and the way that I see this, Tate talks about the ATM machine, but I see the fact that I can literally buy whatever I want for pennies on the dollar just by selling the land, right? Like I can go buy land, and if I want to pay for it out of cash, I can produce cash by just waiting for a property to sell or a property or two to sell for turn or on cash, right? Like, because it happens 25% of the time it's on cash. So I'll be like, okay, I'm going to buy something, but I'm going to buy it for $3,000. I'll wait for the something to sell, and then poof, we automatically have some cash come in the door, and that's how I go buy things. The other way of thinking about it is like, if you want to go buy a car, for example, well, if you want to go buy a car and the car payment is $500, that might be 2 notes, okay? Like 2 notes for the entire time you own the car. Well, you could set that up on a property that maybe cost you, I don't know, $3,000, okay? Like you can make your car payment on properties, 2 properties that combined probably cost you $3,000 to $4,000. Imagine that. You spend $3,000 to $4,000. You get some notes that go out there and produce income for you every single month that pays your car payment. It's like buying everything for pennies on the dollar. Everything. It's just the mindset that goes along with it.
Yeah, I'll tell you the downside of all this, though, is having children. Because now my kids, as they're getting older, are like, what do you do? How are we living like this? Because not only do we make money like an ATM machine, but it's automatic like an ATM machine. It doesn't look like work after a while because we have this thing 90% automated. So that is actually a problem to teach children like a work ethic. Like it doesn't just, like you had to do something in the beginning.
Mark, there's another problem. And Scott talks about like, oh, look, I just sold this for cash. And, a couple of years ago, I was renovating my kitchen, and we got a quote from the contractor, and he came over and said, hey, your kitchen's going to cost X. And we looked at it. It's a lot of money. And I thought, yeah, well, it needs it. It's time. Okay, let's do it. And I said to him, when are you going to start? He's like, well, due to the timeline, it's probably going to be like, 2 and 2.5 months. And I was like, challenge accepted. And so I went into my office and I just hustled for like 2.5 months. I flipped property. I sold stuff for cash. And when the contractor came to collect the down payment or the deposit, I said, payment in full, boom. And my wife looked at me like, what have you been doing? I was like, I've been working hard, working real hard. And she's like, you just made that money over the course of 2 months? I'm like, yeah, pretty much, feeling all good, kitchen's paid for. And she's like, well, how often can you do this? It's like, whoa there, honey. Like, I had to work pretty dang hard for this. Like, she's like, with the backyard, the bathroom, it's like, pump the brakes here. This is a rare thing. Tate doesn't like to work that hard. I had to work on Fridays to make this money. Not something I'm trying to make a habit of.
It's so
you got to be careful, Scott, because,
Well, you got to be careful of Etsy, because that's where Etsy comes in, right? Like no man's dream website, Etsy. Like it brings fear to every man out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. It's so. Before we go to, of all people this week, Scott Todd for the tip of the week, I just want to remind the listeners that today's podcast is sponsored by Flight School. And if you want to build your own ATM machine, yes, you can invest in ATM machines, maybe make 20 to 30% on your money, which is fantastic. Or you can build your own ATM machine that every month will spit out cash at a 300 to 1,000% return. And obviously, you need to start with very little capital. $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. Scott Todd would recommend having less, $500. The only way you're going to learn more about 16 weeks of going up that land investing mountain quickly, safely, efficiently with Scott Todd as your Sherpa is if you get on a free strategy call with Dude Buddy, the Nightcap OG, Scott Bossman, and the Zen Master, Wicked Smart, Mike Zano. Just go to landgeek.com/training and schedule that call. Scott Todd, tip of the week. What do you got?
Okay. All right. Do you know what the biggest lie ever that we all tell? You know what it is? Anybody? Can you guess what it is?
That Mimi Schmidt should always be doing the tip of the week every week on the round table?
No. We all tell this one lie. Like, I bet you on a daily basis. Okay, maybe not daily, but on a regular basis, we all tell this one lie, and here it is. It's you go to a website, and you're registering for the website, and they give you this book called The Terms of Service, right? And there's a little check mark on the bottom that says, I have read the Terms of Service. And we know for a fact that, okay, maybe a small percentage have read it. Most everybody else, they're lying. They're like, yeah, I checked it. It's not true. It's not true. So check out my tip of the week this week, which is a website called TOSDR.org. It stands for Terms of Service Did Not Read.org. And what happens is you can either download a plugin or you can peruse like common websites, and they will give you basically a summary of what it is that you're agreeing to or what they can do. For example, like YouTube, it tells you like what they can and can't do, what you can and can't do, and like how much of your data is protected. And then they give it a class rating, A through E. And so you can search for popular websites. You can even download the web browser, which will help you to understand whether or not, basically what you're agreeing to. It's not like we're going to do anything to change it. We're going to have to agree to it if we want to use the website. So I don't know. Might be something that you might be interested in looking at.
This is a really great Mimi-esque tip. Wow. It's really great and useful, and it's true. I personally never read the Terms of Service for the most part. If it's a real small company, I actually might. But bigger companies, I just don't.
Scott, that's such a great tip. Maybe you ought to do a tip of the week more often.
No, we'll leave that to you, Mimi. But what we could do, though, is we could go to the guy that doesn't really do tips of the week more often. And that's, you guys know, it's Mark, right? Like he, even on the regular podcast, he's always giving the guest websites, and then he's like picking on other people about like their suggestions, like Jot Not Pro or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's time that we rotate, and Mark just has to like level up.
I know Mark was kind of wah-wah about my HubSpot sales blog, and then I noticed in the Facebook group he was touting an article from it.
Yeah,
like
see?
Week before last.
That's what he does.
Well, I'm not to come to Mark's defense, but
Careful.
We can't hear you, Mike. We can't hear you.
But
No.
he does put
Sorry.
items. For instance, Rome Research, Mark, insanely awesome. You put something in the group about that. So he does throw tips into the group routinely. I'd have to. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know.
I do want to just say that if you would like me to do more tips, then let me know in your review of the podcast. All you have to do is subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Send us a screenshot of that review at support@thelandgeek.com, and you can even put in the review, love the podcast, wish Mark would be doing more of the tips of the week, because obviously Mimi's are great, but Scott Todd's are average, and we certainly don't want to go down the road of Eric's Jot Not Pro. So leave us that, and email it at support@thelandgeek.com, we're going to send you for free the $97 passive income launch kit course, as well as the new wholetailing course, how to double your money 3 days or less. If you are not in the free Land Geek official motivation and wealth creation group, thank you, Mike, because I do throw out wonderful tips at least once a week. So take that, Scott Todd, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
You know, Mark, that Rome research has sent me down a rabbit hole.
It was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, because then I read some. I just sent all of you on Voxer a link to an article all about the whole idea of how our brains are shifting from how we read things. It's and if anybody's know what I'm talking about, Mark put in the group. It's Rome research. It's kind of, I don't know if we call it a mind mapping. It's kind of like Evernote on steroids.
Yeah, it's mind mapping in a sort of a different way, in the way that we think. It's really cool. So, are we ready to do this? We good? One.
Oh, we're not good.
Two. 1, 2, 3. Let freedom ring. By the way, speaking of the motivation group, we did get people responding saying they love the bonus part of the podcast. So there you go.
So let it
it's not.
Here we go.
So, well, in the beginning of the podcast, I thought it was really interesting. I had some really good kind of funny lines to Mike Zano about his Microsoft Surface. And then Scott Todd chimed in with a great statistic.
Yeah, just a little thought. I've been thinking about this greatly, and we get a lot of flack for being the Surface. Okay, like the Surface gang here, a lot of flack. But when you think about the numbers, let's think about some numbers here. Let's do a deep dive into the numbers, Mark, because the numbers don't lie, and I do believe in correlation. So here's what I noticed. Apple has a market share on the PC market share is about 33%. Okay, about a third of users are using Mac products today or Apple products today. So clearly, Windows is the platform that's used by most people. Additionally, what I also found interesting from our conversation last week is that a third of the people, I think this was quoted by Tate, he said a third of the people like to push the recline button and recline. Is it a coincidence that they might be the same people, the Mac users are the recliners, and the Windows users are the compassionate, respectful people who love fellow man?
Scott, I don't know about that, but it does tell me one thing. Eric reclines. I knew it. I knew he was a recliner. I knew he was embarrassed. I knew he was afraid to come to my aid because he was afraid of getting cyberbullied on the Facebook. That's what it comes down to.
I think what it does show, though, is there has been some rumors that said that you had a Surface. So clearly you don't.
No, absolutely not.
You know what happens when someone reclines?
I like overpaying for my computers.
Well, I'm on the plane, they recline, and they take away my traditional what be for a Mac's computer space. I just take off the keyboard. I reach back. I reach around and say, "Excuse me, I have an extra pillow. Would you like it?" And it's just a very casual, no problem, really, very compassionate.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that this is literally like, I don't know if you guys watch on HBO, but there's been 10 seasons of it, and literally this could be an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes.
It could be, yeah.
Because you would know Larry David would be irate that someone would be in his
he would
space on an airplane.
No, he would be Tate's position.
He would recline.
He would recline.
I don't think he's not a recliner. I can tell you because I've seen enough episodes, because he really is sort of the unwritten rule follower. For example, if you're a guest in someone's house, you tiptoe, right? You're just, there's just this thing like you just, you don't open the fridge. You ask permission. You don't just go into the pantry. Now, there's obviously, just like reclining, there's no sign that says you should tiptoe, but you do.
Is it okay to open the medicine cabinet if you had a headache?
No.
No. You tiptoe in someone else's house. You don't open their cabinets. You don't, especially at the medicine cabinet.
Ask if you can go to the bathroom. Like, where's the restroom?
Yeah. Eric, have you had any guests in the new house yet?
Yeah, we've had some guests.
And how were they?
Uh-oh, this is public.
I think everybody was good so far.
Did they behave to Mark's standards?
Except my father-in-law doesn't like to take off his shoes in the house.
Okay, that's the same thing as reclining. If the rule is, we take our shoes off and they refuse to do it, I would send them to Vegas. Like, I got the perfect house to go to.
I'm a pair
We
of
don't
Crocs.
take our shoes off.
I'm a pair of Crocs.
I take my shoes off and I step into house shoes.
Yeah, so
Well,
they
that's
have
fine.
a pair of house shoes
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
come to your house. Just find them and put it in.
I mean, I'm not going to tell my guests. I think it's part of being a good host too, though. Like, you want to wear your shoes? I mean,
Ooh, come on now. Do you think being a good host is letting somebody from the outside world stomp around in your
Listen,
home
I'm not saying
with
it's
their
not.
dirty feet?
No.
Come on, man.
No.
Being a
What-
good
what about
host is
this?
like, can I get you something to drink? Or can I get you something to eat?
I
Not
get you a
stomp
pair of
around with your muddy shoes in my house.
But
I
wait a
live
minute,
in
wait a
the
minute.
desert, Mark.
If
You
that's
do too. There's
that's the
never
house-
been mud in your house.
if that's the household rule that you need to take off your shoes, as a host, like maybe tell me in advance so I can make sure I'm wearing some socks, and then I'm not walking around your house like barefooted. Like, I don't know. That seems a little creepy to me.
Mike Zano, what do you think? Let's just go around. This is a roundtable topic. Shoes or no shoes in the Zano home?
I think that you should not wear shoes in somebody else's house. And I think it shows to Scott Todd's lifestyle that he doesn't wear socks. He's so laid back. He's just, what are you, on the beach all the
No,
time?
I do wear socks. I do wear socks most of the time. I do wear socks. But I did go to someone's house and I didn't wear socks that day. And then like they're like, "Oh, please take off your shoes," and I'm like, "It ain't gonna happen." Sorry. Give me some wipes.
See, someone like me would bring their own booties. No
Okay.
problem. I've got land
Or
geek
maybe-
booties.
Or maybe you, as the host, should offer booties.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. Scott Bossman, what about you?
It's winter in Wisconsin. There are no shoes in the house. And the boys try going through the house with shoes. It does not go over well. So we all make it a habit of taking our shoes off at the door, and we have a little shoe shelf that everybody puts their shoes on and stays nicely organized for my wife because it gives her anxiety if it's not organized. So there we go.
That makes sense.
Okay. And let's say that someone didn't want to follow that rule.
So it depends on the person, I guess.
You know,
I think it also
let's say
depends on
Scott
the
Todd
event. What
doesn't
if
want
you-
to follow that rule.
What if you're gonna have a
His feet
dinner
get
party?
cold.
Like, what if you're gonna have a dinner party or
Well, that's
something?
different.
You're
That's different.
gonna, entertain people. Then it's different, right?
Right.
Um,
It's different if you have 50 people in your house and you've got women wearing thigh-high boots and, and heels and things like that that are hard to get on and off, right? So those one-time events, but every day, we used to live in Japan, so we never wore shoes inside. Even in the restaurants, you take your shoes off and then you walk onto the platform where you eat in Japan. I know. Yeah, we have a landing zone right through there where everyone comes in and puts their shoes before they go, and all the rest of their stuff before they go upstairs. And for guests that come frequently, like the grandparents, they have their own pair of indoor shoes or Crocs that they can take their shoes off and put on, have an indoor pair.
Yeah, I mean, Tate is just the house of chaos, so we know where he stands.
No. I'm not
Eric-
saying you can wear your shoes in my house. I'm just
What about on
saying.
the
like,
airplane?
I thought you just said you could.
well, if you are inclined, like the house standard is like you come in, we take our shoes off. But if my mom walks in and she's like, "I'm not taking my shoes off," it's like, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell the woman who birthed me that she has to take her shoes off."
Yeah, that's understandable.
I mean,
We know you take your shoes off on the airplane too, Tate. That's part of this whole
no.
reclining thing.
How about that picture I sent you, the guy barefoot in the airport? We're like very clean people. Like,
Yes.
we're
You
very
are.
clean, but
You are.
I mean, some people, they just get away with it.
I've been known to pack slippers when I go over friends' houses, just to pull them out and put them on in a little bag.
Yeah.
And people love it. It's very.
It's courteous. It's
Yeah.
courteous.
I assume that Scott Todd's probably not getting many house guests simply based on, being a Surface owner and, maybe having like a little Microsoft Surface logo on the door. Like that's almost like no soliciting sign, if you will.
Is it? I mean, I connect with the majority of the American population. I'm just saying.
Right, whom are in despair and lonely.
Listen, let me just tell you this. All I know is that when you guys and your all your visitors come to your houses and everything, and you get the coronavirus and I'm all alone.
Coronavirus is from weird animals.
I'm just saying.
Eating bats.
Just saying, when you're interacting with people at your houses, just remember the coronavirus. You don't know. So just don't interact with anybody.
Yeah.
So you make everybody step in a big pool of bleach before they come
We're
in
gonna
your
bleach
house.
them first. We're gonna wipe them down, and then
And then they go into the Lysol room. They have to hold their breath and get sprayed.
Contamination-free zone. Yeah.
Contamination.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're not doing that. We don't do that.
Okay. So am I the only one on the podcast that listens to or watches Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I do. I watch it.
No, I watch it.
Yeah.
I did like the season or the episode 1 of season 10 where he's like, people are wishing him Happy New Year's. He's like, you can't do that. It's too late.
Too late.
No, it's not too late. Yeah, that was weeks ago.
Yeah. I heard him interviewed, and he's like, because he's playing a character. He's like, and then he actually in real life said something to hurt someone's feelings. He's like, it's not me, it's my character.
Yeah.
So yeah, someone showed him a picture of their dog. He's like, it's a dog.
Ouch.
Right. Which, yeah. So, all right. Well, Eric Peterson, thank you for being on the podcast, and a fellow Mac user, Tate Litchfield. Thank you for being on the roundtable, and a fellow Mac user, Scott Bossman. Thank you so much for being on the roundtable and a fellow Mac user. Everyone else, have a great day.
Thank you for being on the podcast with me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Mike, Mimi, it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
I was gonna
May
be
you
nice
guys
to
go.
you.
Yeah.
Therein lies proof. Right there, Mike. Mike, he just proved the point. PC users are more compassionate than Mac users. He just proved it. See? We love each other. We're the machine of love.
By the way, one more, we have the majority. One more, Scott, and we have the majority. One more.
But until then, you're still the minority.
Tate's on the fence. I know things.
On the fence for a
He
while.
knows things.
I've seen him use a Surface. True story. I've seen him use a Surface.
And it
I've seen
hasn't
him corrupt
gone
it.
well.
You just move it off the table and kick it.
Just out
towards
of
the trash can.
fear. Yeah. I mean, literally for me, just out of fear of a drone, thank you, Mimi, for being on the Roundtable podcast.
I appreciate that.
Mike and Scott, I hope you guys have a virus-free day. Thanks so much,
I've been
guys.
on the street for over a year, man. A year and a half since I got the Surface. Not like the Mac.
That you know about.
Oh no, it's good. I'm locked down.
I can see Tate late at night before he goes to bed. He goes, opens a special drawer, unwraps it, and looks at the Surface. Oh my God! Look at this! Look at this! Wraps it back up.
See you later, guys.
All right, let's go do some deals. See you guys.
Hey, everybody, we are Scott Bossman and Mike Zano. We are land investors, and we learned from the Land Geek. And we wanted to welcome you to the official Land Geek Motivation and Wealth Creation group on Facebook. You may also be receiving this video prior to a call with us. So take a peek. It'll take maybe 10 minutes. We just wanted to give you a little introduction as to what land investing is, what it looks like, and also talk a little bit about our Land Geek programs. So, one of the reasons that people seek out passive income opportunities is because they are overwhelmed in life. They're unsure with their current path. And we want you guys to know that you don't have to be, especially with this business model, because it is truly a passive income machine and it can change your life really quickly. That being said, what is land investing? So it's like I mentioned, it's a passive income and deal closing machine that allows you to work when you want, where you want, and with whom you want. And the beauty of this business is you can automate it, you can scale it to the point where you're working, honestly, a couple hours a day for over 5 figures a month passive income. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens. It's happened for many of us. And what does that do then? It relieves you of financial stress and debt and worry. So you can enjoy life. You can focus on what's really important in life. And I know this is important to you, Mike, as well as it is for me, time and relationships and dreams that you have.
Yeah, having that why is so important. And I know that most of the people in our community align on that fact alone, that they have incredible jobs, a lot of them, but it takes up so much time that they just can't spend the amount of quality time they want with their family. And so land investing is a great solution. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, here's kind of a brief overview of the business model. We buy land for pennies on the dollar, and we typically buy land from people who are distressed. So maybe they have back taxes. Maybe they've owned the property for 30 or 40 years and they don't know how to get rid of it. Maybe they've inherited it and they don't necessarily want it. So we come along and we're able to solve a problem for them and help them get rid of the land they don't want. And then we sell it really in one of 3 ways. I'll let you talk about that, Mike.
Yeah, so the most important way that we talk about and most people love is the term. So basically, a lot of people out there want the land that we have. There's an incredible market, whether they're looking for just an investment purpose, or they're going to go camp on it, they're going to use it for RV, or ATVs or hunting, or there's just a variety of reasons, but they just can't come up with the money. And a lot of times banks are not going to loan them money for this vacant piece of land. So they're kind of caught in a bind. Well, we solve that problem. We allow them for a very small, easy monthly payment to own and use that land. So that's a term sale. So then typically in our model, within 10 months, we have our money back. And these are agreements that we'll have for 3, 5, 10 years. So you have many, many months of, this passive income, this one-time transaction with returned monthly notes coming in, monthly note payments coming in. So it's incredible. So that's how we build up. You sell a property $200 a month, you sell 10 of those, that's $2,000 a month. That'll move the needle for many people right there alone. Now, there are other people who are going to want to just buy the property cash. So, we have the ability to offer them an incredible cash deal. We buy 25 cents on the dollar. Mark calls that Warren Buffett margin of safety. So now we could still sell below market value at a cash price, but and realize an incredible return. And then wholesale, near and dear to me. I've done literally hundreds of properties wholesale. I buy them I just buy them at a great price where I know I can sell to another investor, double my money. They can turn around and sell to make 300, 400, 500% on terms. Everyone's happy, and it's an incredible opportunity. So terms, cash, and wholesale.
Awesome. So that's land investing in a nutshell, right? What is Land Geek? Now, Land Geek has provided me with the opportunity to start a business, maintain a business, and grow a business to the point where I was able to quit my job as a physical therapist. And I could not have done it without this community, without the coaching in this community, without the collaboration of the group. That's something that's really special, Mike, is our group of Land Geeks. Yeah. We are very transparent with our information. Part of that is because the market is so massive that competition is basically non-existent. So we want to help each other move forward and to reach those goals of financial freedom and time freedom. And there's an overwhelming sense of commitment from the coaches in this community to help you move forward. And it really is powerful in that regard.
Yeah, incredible community. We have what Mark calls the abundance mentality as opposed to the scarcity mentality. So what's unique about our group is we talk openly about our deals, where we're doing them, and just the reason is where we do these deals, there's just so much land out there that we're not going to run into each other. We're not going to inhibit each other's ability to make sales. So the collaboration is huge.
Awesome. So what are some things that you guys can do first joining this group? This is a quick blurb about us. I already mentioned my story briefly. Was able to replace my income in 2 years. Mike, you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm a full-time firefighter, over 20 years. I met Mark through a friend of mine who was one of Mark's first students, and he was already making thousands per month passive. So I went over his house. I saw immediate proof of concept. One of my close friends was actually doing so well. So I just wanted to see if I could make it happen. Went out to Arizona, met Mark, taken back by his sincerity, his authenticity. I knew this was a path that would work. So in the first year, flipping small pieces of land, we're talking buying pieces of land for $400, $500, $600, doubling that, paid off the credit card debt in 1 year, which really was just lifting a weight off of my shoulders. And the next year I was able to raise money for a wedding. I got married. We raised all the money and then some within a few months of wholesaling land. And we just continued to grow. My wife no longer works outside of the house. She's was a teacher. Now she's able to stay home. We do the land business together. I don't work overtime. I stay with my job. I love it. It's just an incredible group of people. So I'm not ready to leave that. But the way this land business has affected us positively is our life has just slowed down. We're able to enjoy time with the family. My son's even doing land investing now, my 24-year-old. So it's just an incredible business model.
That's awesome. So what can you guys do? We want you to take advantage of a few things. Use the Facebook group. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, please join it, the Land Geek official wealth creation and motivation group. Land Geek it, we call it. Go to the search icon, type in mailings, type in due diligence, type in marketing, type in sales. You'll see every post that's ever been written about those topics. Type in Mike Zano. You'll see every post he's ever written. But it's a great way to learn. Read or listen to Dirt Rich. Mark released his book, I think, in the summer of 2018. It's a really great read. It talks about Mark's journey from his start, in land investing in 2001 all the way up to the present, and it really shows you the power of this business from his perspective. Listen to our podcasts, the Roundtable podcast. You can find on thelandgeek.com, YouTube, the Facebook group. We have mastermind calls with our one-on-one coaching students that are published in the Facebook group every Wednesday. Nightcap is a goofy show that Mike and I do live on Facebook once a week, Wednesday or Thursday nights. We sit down with a cocktail and we talk land investing. Every once in a while, Mike sings a song as well. We're starting a new thing called the Land Geek Spotlight, where Mike and I interview people who've had success with Land Geek and land investing, and they tell their story. And that brings me to the last thing. We do have a Land Geek app with the Best Passive Income Model podcast and the Art of Passive Income podcast. Those podcasts are amazing. Mark has been serving in that regard for a long time. I loved the Best Passive Income Model podcast when I was just starting land investing 3-4 years ago, because Mark talks all land all the time, and he had a lot of student success stories on there. So that's a great motivating podcast to listen to. Something you guys can do to take action. Number one, I would encourage you to just schedule a call to talk to Mike and myself about land investing, about Land Geek. We'd be happy to have a 30-minute conversation with you regarding strategy, regarding your current situation in life and what we can do to help, because it really is about that. It's about helping other people achieve freedom financially. If you're looking to take massive action, you can get the Investor Toolkit now at a significant discount. So here's the link. There's a coupon code 500IVT for $500 off. And with the Investor Toolkit, you get 2 tickets to a Land Geek Bootcamp, which is the conference we put on 4 times a year, as well as a couple coaching calls. We can also have a discussion about Land Geek Flight School, which is really becoming the gold standard for getting into this business because you move so quickly and you learn from the best of the best in Scott Todd, who at his 4-year anniversary in land investing, I think he hit $50,000 a month passive income, which there's nobody better you want to learn from. And then you also get LG Pass, which is the software that helps us automate our mailings, our due diligence, and our paperwork. A very high success rate with Flight School. Here are just a few screenshots of some of our Flight School students. Some of those cash pictures are a little gimmicky sometimes, but you know, Barbara Thibodeau here is showing her wad of cash. She did that closing on the tailgate of her pickup, and she's done a couple since then. People get really amazing deals, and we encourage them to share those stories. And what do you say, Mike?
Well, the magic is in the story, right? That's exactly where you know, you learn everything. And I also say deal flow solves everything. So
Right.
this deal flow is just when you start mailing out offer letters, when you start getting deals in the pipeline, and you start selling property, everything changes. It's not just philosophical at that point, it's real. So these are people who went through Flight School with Scott Todd. As he likes to say, Scott Todd, that his success leaves clues. He doesn't just leave clues, he gives you the actual, you know, the hard information and shows you what to do week to week, so you can end up doing deals like this as well. And we should point out too, Scott, that although she did that in the back of a pickup truck, that is a rarity. I've never been to a land parcel that I bought. It's just or sold. It's just that you know, sometimes there's that opportunity for someone that's close by.
Awesome. So one last thing, contact us anytime. Those are our cell numbers. Text us, give us a call, email us at info@landgeekguys.com, schedule a call at thelandgeek.com/training. We'd be happy to have a conversation with you. As you can tell, Mike and I are pretty passionate about this business, land investing, and this community, Land Geek, because it has changed our lives. So we'd love to help you get started on your journey.
Awesome. Reach out, guys. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.